Hello and welcome everybody, and I just want to say special shout out to Steve, who is a wonderful friend of the channel and wonderful person just in general. Steve, we love you. On behalf of all of us, you are our MVP, and we're glad you're here. Hello everybody. My name is Graham or Graham Crackers. Welcome to the channel. If it's your first time tuning in, not tombing. I mean, we're not in a dungeon right now, so tuning in. Here at Graham Crackers, we are all about making memories with friends, whether those are through TTRPGs, RPGs, or MMORPGs. Because the time you spend with friends is time well spent. So we always aim to make lifelong memories in the games we play. But tonight I have the pleasure and the privilege to play Geharis Nervos Blackmont, the Oath of Conquest Bard, Paladin, Oath of Conquest Paladin / Bard, who I will be once again resuming in brother to Ifron, as, we go do some backstory stuff. But what I'd love to hear from the other players are, who are they? Who are they playing? And Matt, or Derek, what is one fact or thing about the characters that we would like to know today?
Really put me on the spot there.
I can do it if you can't.
You know what? No, actually, I've got this because Griaz just leveled up. He got an enhanced wild shape, so I want to know, as Griaz can turn into animals, if your characters could turn into an animal, what animal would they turn into?
Ooh. I think if Geharis could turn into any animal, Geharis would turn into an otter.
All right, and I'll take it off next. Since I follow up Graham, I am Vero. Today I will be playing Ifron, Oath of Devotion Paladin, as that's where I am on the streaming screen. Oh God, I don't know, Jeremy. What do you think? What do you think my character Ifron would turn into for an animal?
Don't answer that, Eurotaka again.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Hi guys, I'm Pharaoh. I will be playing Utaka, a Water Genasi cleric rogue of slightly better repute than they once had, maybe. I don't know. They're working on it. It's a work in progress. If they could turn into an animal, oof. He has found that he actually enjoys flying when he's on his fly. I think he would like to be some sort of hawk, like a peregrine, or something in that like size category of bird of prey. Not big like an eagle. He doesn't need to be flashy. Leave that for the high charisma people. But
Oh, you're just going to pick the fastest animal on Earth.
okay, maybe not peregrine. Some sort of predatory hawk. Or like a sea turtle, they're cool too.
What a range.
Yeah, what a range. Hey everybody, it's me, Kari. I'll be playing Israel, the half-elf Fae Pact Warlock. No multi-classing for her. It's just all pseudo ranger all the time. If she could turn into an animal, she's never thought about this for this length of time. So she guesses a fox, maybe? She thinks they're cute and she's seen them occasionally in the forest. Or maybe a deer, she shrugs. I don't know. She doesn't think about this.
It's like an office style interview with the characters.
Squirrel with a gun.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't commonly think about turning into an animal, I guess.
Well, I do. And hi, everybody. I'm Derek Sword. I play Griaz Bramblepelt. He is a rogue and druid, and he can turn into all of the animals. So get good, noobs. Off to you, Jeremy.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I have the pleasure of playing with these fine folk yet again as Ivron Blackmont, the Oath of Devotion, Protector Asimar Paladin. He also did not multi-class, and I think he would go along with uh, something of the avian sort as well. I think maybe in passing one of those episodes long ago, we improvised, and I said Ron as a child was very lonely and would often try to talk to birds. So I think he would want to be a bird, like a lark or a sparrow or something. But yeah, so I think that's what he'd want. Without further ado, I will pass it off to our wonderful DM, Matt.
That's me. I am Matt, your DM, and I will be playing everyone else. And
What animals do they want to be? All of them.
uh,
Alphabetical order.
I actually did have an answer. It's not for everyone, but I did have an answer. Pain.
I was gonna say I only want to hear what the BBEG would turn into now.
Well, Graham,
Squirrel
tell me
with a gun. I already said it.
who's the BBEG?
That would be our good uncle.
Uncle Els, Lord Joron. If he could turn into any animal, he would want to be. It's a bit of a toss-up. There's a few animals that come to mind, but I think he would want to be an eagle. Something that can survey the world from above and is seen as a symbol of strength and peace.
Let it be known that all eagles in our new kingdom are banned.
Just whatever animal it was going to get banned.
Yep. can't have that on our battle standard anymore.
Oh, what a shame.
You played yourself, Matt. We're whittling every week. We're gonna whittle down and know this BBEG by the backs of our hands by the time we get to them.
Oh man. Okay. So, are you guys ready to dive back in to the Goldshine investigations?
Israel's real answer, upon consideration, is a raccoon.
Hey!
Because
That's
they
delightful.
have tiny little hands and little masks.
That's delightful. I love it. Okay. With that, we resume the Goldshine investigations. When we last left off, the party managed to identify and, rather than destroy or even capture, managed to, at least for the time being, befriend the Soul Tide, which has been identified as this strange mass of insect life that is effectively the remnants of what is left of the great swamp spirits of this land. Reduced down to the sorry state, they desperately scour for and attempt to feed on all magic, attempting to restore the magic to the swamp that the Children of Red Side had cruelly drained away to fuel their mad experiments. But on investigating, the party was approached by Tails, mostly in an effort to identify and potentially capture the Soul Tide, but Gaheris had other plans and demanded the return of their father's medallion, despite Tails' protests. And contained within the medallion were messages to the children of the Paladins, which revealed that their father is indeed dead. Knowing that his death was soon to be upon him, as Joron had found the City of Liberty and had dreams and aspirations for it that would take his oath to its logical extreme. A state of war to unite the world against a shared enemy, where he would control both sides, keeping the world in essentially a measured state of war that would maximize periods of peace. After all, if everyone is united under one flag, how can there be conflict? But the party's not going to stand for that. With the GSIA corrupted, The children of Red Sight still on the loose, although their numbers easily half of what they once were, and the Bluefield War still raging in the background. The party has elected that they are going to revolt against all sides and make a stand for themselves, with plans to claim the City of Liberty for themselves. And with the Soul Tide out of the way, the people of Zydan can return to their land if they wish, but as of right now, all the party wants to do is assemble an army of all of the allies and friends they've made along the way to make a final stand against their enemies. The corrupted Goldshine Investigation Agency, who may ignorantly stand against them. The Hell Knights, which follow Lord Juron to create a world of war. And the various kingdoms of the common folk, who continue to attempt their colonial genocide of the monster races. With that, Garrus and Ivron Blackmont. Taken away by Tails to discover your birthright. We'll pick up there. The first thing you register, the both of you, is freezing cold. It's not the first time Tails has helped you travel, so you know this is simply the natural result of being back in your homeland. All around you are fields of snow. And this isn't particularly unusual where you come from, but turning your attention behind you, you see a very familiar rising set of walls. Walls carved from the stone of graves and tombs. On each stone that makes up the wall, you see magical runes carved into them meant to keep out undead. It is not a high wall, not a particularly thick one, but it is sturdy and the magic is powerful. And before you is a currently closed gate, above which reads, "Turn back, ye undead. Here only the living may tread." Looking up ahead of you, you can see the carved black stone of Castle Blackmont, built directly into the side of Lisahora, otherwise known as Bald Mountain. Your homeland, the land of Yav. Miles away from where you once were, traveled in an instant. For the first time in years, you're home.
Well, you have to say, the sign is a nice touch. Was that always there?
Yes. Yes. It's always been there.
Are you sure? I can't remember that it was.
You never did pay attention to the little things.
What can I say?
It seems quiet.
Yes. Too quiet, indeed.
Do they hear anything beyond the walls?
Make a perception check.
I'd like to assist, or yeah, I'll assist.
Perception check with advantage. Sorry.
It's my perception 6. 26 for both.
Oh. The pair of you stopping. You can hear the whistling of the freezing cold winds of northern Yav, as the region near where the Baradel is constructed is known as one of the coldest places in the world, where life can still be sustained. And while the Baradel is not built directly in it, it is only a few miles west. But over the sound of freezing wind, you can make out the sounds of life. Chattering townspeople, mumbles and conversation. You both of you remember that Yav is a land very frequently at war. But the Baradel always stood somewhat special, as while the Gyogran territories that encompass the Baradel are an independent and imperial people, the Baradel has been a respected and venerated land even by rival empires, as it is seen as a sort of neutral watering hole between the empires. One of the few places where everyone can go to respectfully honor and bury their dead. And even two rival kings who may have fought in battle and killed one another may be buried side by side in these very graveyards. Despite the wars, despite everything going on in another continent, in another world, life goes on.
Should we knock on the front gate, or should we? I'm pretty sure they never sealed up the back tunnels.
Well, is Ron will knock. No need to be afraid of entering our home, brother.
Well, it's not that I'm afraid, it's that I don't want to cause much of a stir, and we are no doubt going to.
Perhaps you're right. Very well, brother. Lead on.
I knock on the door. Just like...
Knocking on the wooden doors that seal off this town. Although it's a rather somewhat amusing note that the gate itself actually seems taller and sturdier than the surrounding walls. But the gate itself may lack the enchantments that the surrounding walls have. But that being said, you knock and there's nothing left to do but wait and see if anyone answers. As this happens, Tails, kind of seeming to his credit to not be bristling too much against the freezing wind, their cloak billowing, gives the two of you a respectful bow. And if you'd prefer, I can leave you two to it and come and pick you up.
Well, what do you think? I think that Tails deserves to stay and witness history for once, rather than having to only see it.
Perhaps, but you're more than welcome to stay, Tails. Unless you feel as though you are more efficient being elsewhere.
At this, he actually kind of thinks for a second, and I'll be quite honest with you. At this point, we've gone a bit off the beaten path. I foresaw a lot of potential outcomes, and we seem to be barreling towards a very unexpected one. And I'll admit I'm not certain where I may be most useful at this point. I thought I was most useful with the GSIA, but... And he gestures to the area of his chest where the medallion once proudly sat. It appears there's been a change of plans.
I pull out from my... one moment. I pull out one of the pins that we got from the Realm of Nightmare, with like the smiley face pins. Or like the glow-in-the-dark ones. I forgot which ones they were, like little gift shop pins.
Yeah, they were glow in the dark, yeah.
I'm gonna pin it where the GSIA badge was. There. Now, you know, everyone will know. Well, no, they'll know, I hate Mondays. And
you can see Tails kind of look down at it, look back at you, and there's a long moment of pause before...
that's the spirit. Lead on, your lordship.
I'll ensure that your friends don't have any further need of my services, but from what I've seen, I think I'm going to be quite busy today. I'll return to fetch you in a few hours. I would hate to intrude on something as personal as visiting your father's grave. the door will be opening in 6 seconds, so I'll be back soon. And he vanishes. Sure enough, 4, 5, 6, and a little view cubby is pulled back, and you see a very pallor and pale looking human, and kind of squinting a bit through. They kind of look you up and down, and there's a long moment of pause before the view cubby is slid shut, and the gates creak open, and you're able to make out the full visage of the figure. They're hunched slightly, carrying a gnarled looking spade in one hand. Their cloak is somewhat muddy and brown, with some shades of green towards the bottom. Their clothes overall look very poor and makeshift, especially likely doing little to nothing against the freezing cold. Um, but they stare at the two of you for a moment, and the Black Ones.
Hello.
Hello.
It's been a long time.
Well, a few months, maybe.
No more than a year.
Welcome back to the Baradel.
Thank you. Does Ivron recognize this person?
Make a history check.
I'll assist.
Make a history check with advantage. I feel like there's going to be a lot of that this.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
With advantage, that is a 21.
Ivron, you don't recognize him off the top of your head, but there's a lot of people here, and it's been several months since you were last here, so it could be someone that you knew and just forgot about. But Gaharis, as somebody who liked to explore the castle and rather the castle grounds, and being something of a people person, you actually do recognize the man. This is Maury, a member of the Crypt College, who works as the gatekeeper, basically monitoring the surrounding area and ensuring that there are no undead making their way towards the town, ensuring that the enchantments of the walls are maintained, and obviously watching over the gates to just keep an eye on people coming in, making sure that everyone who comes in is documented, essentially. Their job is to just keep track of who goes in and out and keep the enchantments up. The maintenance guy.
Do I know if his cloak or like his outfit, is it some does the cold not bother him because of magical means, or maybe a racial trait, or is it just that he's really poor and underpaid?
I'll give you a freebie. He is not poor and underpaid.
Okay.
Because of the Baradel's association with death, it is something of a custom here to dress somewhat lightly, as a dead man would be buried. But the thing is, the nice clothes you'd be buried in do not do much against the freezing cold of the Yavik North. But given that the Crypt College is a mere walking distance away, most of the clothes distributed among the members of the college are enchanted against the cold, allowing them to dress in a way that is culturally appropriate for them while still securing them against the cold. So the cloak is almost certainly enchanted.
Okay.
You do notice their skin does look a little gnarled a bit by the wind and cold, but it doesn't seem like they're getting frostbite or anything at the least. And I would say, as just a brief side note, you guys would know that it is currently the month of Galet in the Yavik calendar, which means that the winter solstice is soon to be upon you.
Maury, it's been so long.
It has.
Well, we're back now. Problem solved, I suppose. I hope there are no problems. Are there any problems? You should probably tell me if there are problems. Also, this is for you, and I give him a gold coin from the other continent.
Tell me, how have your travels been?
Well, uh, we we found the man behind the unfortunate incident which brought us away, and we intend to go combat this villain. But we have been unable to touch base with the Hell Knights.
Indeed. Our settlement has lost contact with them as well.
That's probably for the best. They
Well,
seem to be compromised.
that's unfortunate. Please,
Wait.
come in.
The Hell Knights on this continent you haven't heard from.
Well, they are elsewhere on the continent, to be sure, but they have all fled to follow the order of Lord Els.
When was the last time any of them passed through?
The last battalion of the Hell Knights that passed through this town was, I believe it would have been perhaps about 4 months ago, maybe 6.
How long did it take us to get to the other continent?
Only a couple months.
So would they have just arrived, or maybe...
Depending on
I'd be
his...
trying to do the map, and, like, would they have reached Euron before... Or have they already reached there?
Absolutely, they've already...
Okay.
They almost certainly have reached him by now.
Well,
Even at the lowest estimate that Maury gave.
okay. Well, that's, good to know, good to know. How have you been? Everything all right?
I've been well. Times are, of course, never easy. The Minlus Khanat sends raiders from time to time, and the wicked Commonwealth has taken to necromancy, which, as you know, is a grave slight to our ways. But the ways of your forefathers persist, and the Barodel remains a proud and venerated settlement, awaiting the return of its lords.
Many thanks.
And he seals the gate shut as soon as the two of you pass through.
Speaking of the lords, I believe that we never formally finalized the ceremony, as the barrow blade is not in our hands, which I would like to do today. If you could gather the council.
Of course. Please follow me. There is never a wrong time to grieve. And using his spade as a staff, he begins to trudge his way through the snow, deeper into the village.
As they go...
after you. No, after you.
As they go about, and throughout the entire time Graham, or Harris and Maury were talking, Yvonne would be trying to sense and see if there's anything out of the ordinary. You know, or do people look maybe different than last they left them?
Yeah, does anything look wrong or off?
Yeah.
Make a perception check. As Maury and Harris are having their conversation.
18.
Looking around, life in the Barodel goes on. Members of the Crypt College, deigned in their enchanted robes, travel to and fro, gathering supplies for their spellcraft and study, presumably. The local farmers and commoners flit throughout the settlement. The settlement has that same sort of air of grim macabre that you associated with it as a child, but just because it is grim does not mean it can't be happy. Life in Yav is never easy. It's a cold land, often not a fertile one, and often one at war. But despite the, from the sounds of it, threat of foreign necromancers and bandit raids, life is going on. And the Barodel remains secure from the looks of it, and venerated. The walls have been maintained, their enchantment strong, and the people are cold, and sure, life could be better, but life could be worse, as the crypts at the foot of the mountain can tell them.
As we're walking, I would like to cast Detect Magic and hold it for its entire duration of 10 minutes. Keeping my eye out for if any Cult of Red Sight magic comes off of any of the individuals around us, as well as any of the council members when they arrive.
Okay. Detect magic lasts for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, I will recast it once the council members.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
show
yeah.
up.
So you can do one for the town and then one for the council.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already deducted both, so yeah.
Okay. In that case, Avron, as you continue to look around your old home, the two of you begin following Mori through the town. The Baradel itself has not changed too much since you guys left. The walls enchantments hold, as Geharis, your detect magic tells you. The bald mountain, the mountain of black stone, oversees the settlement protectively. And in the center of the town, you can see the well upon which is built the statue of Geron, the hero who defeated the necromancer in the ancient days of the settlement. The Barrow Lord Geron holding the barrow blade in one hand, and in his other, the head of the necromancer he decapitated with that blade. You can see Castle Blackmont carved of black stone at the peak of the mountain, and at its foot, the Crypt College and surrounding tombs in which the venerated fallen are buried. Among the town itself, you can see the forges, tanneries, mills, and shops. It's solemn but peaceful. People from all walks of life coming from all over the continent to venerate their fallen. It's quiet, but it's always been quiet here. Quiet as the grave, one could say. But already, as you two walk around, you can see whispers starting to occur among the townsfolk. Avron, as you're searching among them, you start to notice it first. People seeing the two of you walk by with one of the Crypt College members in tow begin to whisper amongst themselves that the Barrow Lords have returned. Geharis, your magic reveals, of course, the enchantment on the walls, and other than that, nothing that strikes you as immediately odd. You do detect some necromancy from Mori, but you know that the Crypt College does sometimes practice it themselves, as long as what they do is considered respectful to the dead. So they're not allowed to use necromancy to animate the dead, but they can use it to manipulate them to some degree, as long as it's kept respectful. So that in and of itself is not inherently unusual. You do not detect any magic from the Hell Knights or from the Children of Red Sight during your initial trip.
Wonderful. Then I won't say anything. I'm going to be silent. I'll pull my faceplate down and follow behind Avron.
Okay. The two of you walk with Mori until you reach the foot of the statue, at which point he turns and, with a deep bow, if you'll excuse me, my lords, I will fetch the council, and we shall ensure that you are given the opportunity to grieve your father as your ancestors have grieved theirs.
Very grateful, Maury. Thank you.
Of course, Lord Blackmont. If you'll excuse me, Lord Blackmont. And begins to trudge through the snow. You notice he walks with something of a slight limp to the distant Crypt College, leaving the two of you in the snow at the foot of the statue of your ancestor.
You know, I had quite forgotten how odd it is for people to call you my lord.
Indeed, I never quite liked it. Something undeserved.
Yes, I mean, the circumstance of someone's birth shouldn't dictate the amount of respect someone deserves, in my opinion.
It is true. But why put a title to it?
People love their titles, I suppose. Lead investigator, captain, that guy.
Ivran gives Geharis a side eye. We are here because... Why, again? We seek the Barrow Blade. But which one of us should take it?
Well, I think that answer is pretty clear.
Yes. Glad we
Of
agree.
course.
No. No.
Brother, out of the two of us, the best thing for the Barrow Blade and for Barrow Dells is for it to be under your care. You can try and deny it, but you and I both know that Father molded you into someone who can lead and inspire.
Do you...
I'm going to cut you off every time you try. But I do apologize. What were you saying?
Do you honestly think you do not inspire? Or that Father did not mold you as well?
No,
You're just as much right, Geharis. In fact, more even. It is your calling. Seemingly, it has always been your calling to be a leader, a commander. And your goals are just. You use your strength and your power to defend those in a weakened state, the innocent, those that can't lift the sword themselves. You keep the bullies off. Do you not think you do not deserve this?
I will take off my plate helmet and hold it under the crook of an elbow with my left hand, and put my right hand on Ivron's shoulder, if allowed. Brother, I don't doubt that I inspire and I can protect people. You and I both know that I'm still winning between the two of us in fights. But
Point exactly.
to protect others and to save others and use that power, I can't just stay here. I can't offer these people stability that they will need in the everyday going-ons. I can't offer them the wisdom of good advice like you can. I am good at fighting. I am good at inspiring and leading war. Yeah. That is what I can do. And while there are no shortage of wars here, there is a shortage of peace. And that's what you bring.
Ivran looks thoughtful in this. Very well. I will not argue with you anymore.
Good. I mean, after all, whichever one of us doesn't take it is most likely going to take control of the Hell Knights, I suppose, at the end of this.
If the Hell Knights are even Hell Knights anymore.
And who knows? Perhaps owning a castle has its own set of headaches. Perhaps I was unwise to have one. Or try to have one.
Castle? You own a castle?
As a matter of fact, I do. As of a few nights, I purchased it. Though I don't...
was unaware that you had come across such a great sum of gold.
Well, not all costs are with gold.
Ah. Whose castle did you take, Harris?
Well, it's more of a borrowing thing for now. But Nightmare has been so gracious to offer me a section of his plane. So, worst case scenario, if we need to leave or abscond quickly, I can get us somewhere safe.
Oh, that's comforting. Going back to Nightmare. Wonderful. You are your own man, Harris, and your dealings with this power are beyond my means to say whether or not it is wise. But again, if anyone could get away with such things, it would be you. You'll have to show me your castle sometime. Have you been there?
I have not. Perhaps I'll be able to take us there today. I'll need to take a small trip down to the prison to have some words with the bandits that have been captured. Perhaps turn them away from their wicked ways to assist the Barodels for a higher purpose.
You mean scare them into doing what you want them to do?
That is exactly what I mean to do.
Well, all right. Can't believe you think I'm the man for the job. But yes, that's fine, Harris. Oh, we'll do that after we say our piece to Father.
Of course, of course. Well, lead the way.
Yeah, so if they're not waiting for the council, they'll go to where their father lies.
Okay. So you want to start making your way to the tombs? Okay. Oh, also, this is just a minor detail, but figured I'd correct it just as a brief side note. I was a little bit off on the calendar. In the Yavik calendar is the month of Beilet, not the month of Galet. Just brief side note, but I figured I'd mention it. Anyway. As you begin making your way through the town, you begin coming away from the pulls of the constructed settlement itself and more towards the sacred center of it all. What the Baradel itself was built around and for. You begin to approach the Crypt College, where mages construct the various tombs to venerate the fallen and practice whatever forms of magic they see fit. The Crypt College was also built upon the largest set of tombs in the settlement. Beneath the college, where necromancers train their arts, somewhere in a maze of graves, is your father. As you begin to approach the Crypt College, a small group of wizards begin to come out to greet you. The Council of the Crypt College. All of them dress in a manner somewhat similar to Mori. Their robes are simple but enchanted. However, unlike Mori's, which are a more humble cloth, you can see that the council members' cloaks are a variety of somewhat drab blacks, blues, and grays, but all of them have this kind of wispy, almost ethereal look to them, as if it doesn't look like cloth has been stitched together around them. It looks as though the very spirits and souls of the graves of the Baradel gather around them in a mist that just hugs to their sides and follows them wherever they go. As they approach you, one of the council members step forward. A ancient-looking elvish man. Their skin is tinged a dark blue, almost like a dark elf, but this is not the effect of heritage. This is the effect of time spent among the dead and in the freezing north of these lands. They too lean on a spade shovel that basically acts as their staff and focus for their spell casting. And a massive, dusty book that looks like it could fall apart in a stiff breeze is clutched under their other arm. Their arms themselves are, for an elf, fairly bulky, presumably a lot of time spent digging. And their hair is this wispy silver that traces around their head, again, like spirits and fog clinging to them. And through a pair of bleary, gleaming blue eyes, one of the council members speaks to you. I'm told you seek the grave of your father.
Ivron bows low and acknowledges. Yes. Is he well?
He has been protected and venerated as all of our honored dead should be. If your time to grieve has come, I can take you to him.
That would be most gracious of you.
And allow me to welcome you back to your home, Lords Gaheris and Ivron Blackmont of the Baradel. Israel, Griaz, Utaka. You have a few minutes as Tails sees off Gaheris and Ivron to discuss things amongst yourself, if you should wish to do so. The soul tide continues to gather curiously around Utaka, the gaslight drained of all magic sitting to the side as the curious creatures examine you, Utaka, continuing to swarm around you as their de facto king of vermin.
Israel looks from Utaka to Griaz. Where do you think we should go first?
I don't fucking know. I ain't got no clue how long they're gonna be. Is this gonna be a day? Or like, Garrett's gonna be gone for a month like he was last time? Was it? I don't know. He was 3 months. He was like gone for fucking ever.
Yeah. Well, you know how they like to talk.
They do fucking like to talk.
Are you bringing all of them with us?
I mean, they're kind of cute. Like, look at this boy! And he lifts up the rat again. Isn't he so good?
Is it wearing a chef's hat?
I think that's just his fur. It's all like tuft up there. Oh,
Okay.
You are perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You know that I am myself contained within me a plethora of insectoid critters and whatnot, but I think that's why you and I get along. I'm just wondering if diplomacy is our aim, if perhaps I just want to hang out here.
Right. Well, if they're off for gods know how long,
Sure.
do we gotta start like gathering everyone?
That might not be the worst idea we've had. We've
That's what
certainly
I was
got people to
thinking.
gather. There's the people back in Jor who are right there.
Tails said he'd get like the main people from the like headquarters. So I guess we don't gotta worry about that. But
Right.
maybe we need to get back to Brooke, and I know they wanted to like turn in the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have the stuff to like prove that here? Can we do that?
We were going to set up killing the dragon over the water and fake its death. I don't know how convincing we'll be, but we could sure try to make a very convincing show without damaging the thing too much.
Yeah, how do we do that without damaging the... Because if we're gonna need to transport a lot of people down there, like, we need that thing.
Well, nobody has seen it go underwater except for us, so if we can just get it to plummet and not come back up.
Okay. Maybe if I'm on the inside, I can try and like keep any water out if you guys poke holes in it.
I don't think we have to poke holes in it. I mean, hell, I can.
I mean, like, just in case.
Sure.
Because that would be bad.
We
Sure.
just need it to be dark and for whatever we do to be flashy. And
Okay.
then if they can make it look convincingly like they fall out of the sky into the water.
I could do like magic out of its mouth. Make it look like a fucking like right?
Mm-hmm.
That would help, I think, selling it as a real dragon. Sure.
Okay. And then you two on the land where they can see going like pow 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 pow.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I could just cast Entangle on it and get all the wings as long as you don't do anything to break that. Then it goes down and we're like, oh no.
Oh no. And then when it's under the water, I could like dispel your vines and shit.
Oh yeah, I mean that thing can break that shit easy. Yeah.
You just have to not struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Make it look like you're sort of struggling, but not really.
Okay, so I think we need to start. We gotta go back and like find the goblins again. And
yeah, let them pilot it. I mean, honestly.
I mean, obviously, like I can't pilot on my own. I mean, I could probably pilot it, but I think like you need people.
You
like
need at least more than one person to pilot that thing. It takes 1,000 goblins.
But while they're like flapping the wings and shit, I can do like stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll handle that. We'll get the mercenaries and Brooks folks and everyone we left near Jor. Then head to ground and get whoever we left
it's kind of late. We've been like traveling all day, so I think we actually need to like sleep.
Well, yeah, but can we sleep out here? Are they fine? Are they not going to eat us?
Hey, children, don't eat us. And tell all your friends not to eat us too, okay?
One of the locusts kind of like
just nod your little head. Yeah, see, they get it.
Yeah, I don't know. That leech looks shifty. I don't trust that one leech in particular.
She was born that way. Don't be rude, Griaz.
They ain't got eyes.
Okay, we're gonna make some little tents. Stay outside the tents. You can guard us. You're allowed to do that.
At this, the vermin begin to disperse and start to kind of encircle the area, although their attention is briefly grabbed by the return of Tails, who gives a bow and kind of looking around at their feet and kind of kick, like not super hard, but kind of lightly kicking away a few leeches. Captain Blackmont and Agent Blackmont have been safely deposited in their homeland. I'll return to grab them as soon as they have had the time they need. But
how long is that going to be? You have any idea? You could like tell us.
Necromancers of the Baradel always said that there is no wrong time to grieve and no wrong amount of time to do it, so that depends on them.
Wait, but you fucking know.
Last time I told you what I knew, you guys decided to rebel against the organization, and that's going to make things a lot more complicated.
To that point. Are they still technically a captain and an agent? Or are you just really hot about titles?
It's more just habit than anything.
Cool.
In most
I would like to be
timelines.
referred to as an admiral. Thank you.
Where's your ship?
Would you like to know?
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
I'm shipping me and that Harpy from a dozen sessions ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if he marries Brooke, would her ship be his ship?
I don't think it works that way.
Fuck.
But technically at sea, Brooke could marry. I don't see Brooke that way. Oh, it's
Oh, okay.
all right. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Would probably also depend on marriage property law.
She ain't got enough teeth.
Not
Wow.
enough teeth?
Mm-hmm. That's what I said.
Theoretically, how many teeth does someone need?
Enough.
I'm gonna
Taka
How
choose.
many
looks-
is enough?
Utaka looks nervously towards Junior.
I'm gonna choose not to think about that extremely thoroughly.
Yeah,
What is?
anyway, could you perhaps deposit us closer to our friends with the fake dragon contraption?
I suppose there's no reason not to. I feel like the next few weeks of my life are going to be a glorified taxi service.
Yeah, we are looking to fast travel. So.
Well, you've already been there, so I suppose that's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Israel will go around and get the things that have already been set out, and she's gonna gather them up. It's like, yep, we're just gonna. We should probably rest there, and not here.
I will gather the best rat, the best boy. He's coming with me.
Do you intend to bring the entire soul tide with you, or just a few select denizens of it?
Look, I know, like, you're not powerful enough to transport the whole soul tide. It's fine.
I never said I couldn't.
This is not the time, but short answer, just a few representatives.
I was just checking. I may not be an agent of the Goldshine Supernatural Investigation Agency anymore, but it is still my job to be concerned about the potential of civilian casualties if you let the soul tide wander unmonitored near a large civilian population.
Well, I mean, that's why I was just gonna take one, because we need to, like, do tests and stuff anyway.
Very well.
And there's
That
nobody here now, and shouldn't be in the near future until we give them the all clear.
And the civilians around here will already know the danger. Like, they're prepared.
Very well. Should I inform anyone to capture them, or do you intend to do so yourself?
They'll
When
come
we
to
have
me
a way
on
to
call.
contain what we need to transfer to them, we shouldn't need to capture them at all. Can't you, Chaka, just call them
Yeah,
again?
we'll bring, like, crates and they'll climb in. It'll be fine.
Very well.
Yeah, he'll just.
But you already knew that, didn't you?
Okay. Okay, yeah, we're ready whenever you are.
To minimize disturbing your rest any further. And as he's saying this, he's already waved his hand in your perspective, like rapidly shifts to be like only like about an hour's distance out from the dragon mech. You can see it like shadowed against the night sky on the shore of the lake. And again, he's doing this like mid-sentence and minimize the disturbance to your rest. Is there anything you would like me to do overnight or over the next few days while you go about your business?
Can you... Wait, no, like, there's a lot of things, right?
If you've already retrieved the folks we needed you to retrieve, and
Yeah, you haven't yet, have you?
Not yet. I figured you might like to sleep
Yeah.
first.
Also, I think we should, like, be there when they show up.
Indeed.
probably. So, well,
And can you warn Ulysses to, like, wear a cloak? I don't think they're gonna like her much down there, like the robots.
Understood.
The automatons.
Yeah, they're nervous around Atlanteans or things that resemble Atlanteans.
Understood. We'll be cautious. I'll inform them in the morning.
All right.
All right.
Sleep well. Be safe. I'll return tomorrow afternoon with the packages you requested.
Crepes too. Like actual crepe packages.
Very well. And with that, he gives a wave and vanishes. So the three of you just return to the dragon mech to sleep for the night?
Yep. It's out tents or whatever as we need to.
And we inform the goblins that
Yeah, we're gonna be
Sorry.
going through. Yeah.
sorry, our like shiny friends aren't here, but we gotta do the thing that they wanted to do. So this is how we're gonna do it. And we like go over the vague plan.
All right, so you're going to start going over with the goblins the plan of faking the dragon's death?
Precisely. The choreography of how this fight's gonna go, like they're gonna fly in overhead. There's gonna be some shouting. I'll throw some, Eldritch Blast past them, like not actually hitting them and making it look like I hit them. Then an entangle's gonna hit their wings. They're gonna just let themselves fall. And maybe we do some fun prestidigitation in the water that makes it look like an explosion happened. I don't know.
Okay.
And we all collect money.
Okay. The goblins seem a little off-put that the paladins did not return, but once you assure them that they're safe, they, again, a little off-put, but start discussing what to do. Although Wolflo, the dwarf, does at one point kind of, and what of the soul tide? Did you find it?
We did. And a few other interesting tidbits beside. We haven't accomplished fixing it yet, but we have a plan to. We'll let you know when we resolve that. But it should be
Well,
soon.
we're gonna need them to like transport some of it. So
Well,
we've got
ideally.
a plan. It'll be fine. They listen to me. They like me. Look at this little boy. He's so good.
Yeah, we found out that apparently our friend here can just command the soul tide when he gets close to them.
I am a cleric of Ninklim. Did you guys miss the rat on my cloak? It's here. On my
Yeah,
cloak.
but I didn't know that it covered undead creatures that merely resemble vermin that used to be swamp spirits. I didn't
Look, you're
think
getting
that
like
those
into
were
the
same thing.
technicalities. And with this
Yeah.
stuff, it's more about like faith.
And she just like gives the nod of someone who does not understand.
Yeah, it's like that.
She's
Doesn't
like,
understand.
that's not how magic works, but okay.
Well, no, I mean, if you think about it, they're still vermin.
Yeah.
One way or another, no matter where they came from, they're still vermin.
I'll
It's
take
not
it.
like, oh, it has to be by definition a biological rat. It could be a rat or it could be a fucking zombie rat. Both are fucking vermin. It's just one of them's eating your cheese, the other one's eating your head cheese.
But who, and like Goblin One kind of seeming actually kind of invested in the conversation, just, but who gets to decide what counts as vermin? It's not like vermin's an objective classification.
Well, I
assume the
mean,
gods do.
they
I
like
guess.
me.
I don't know. Try to think about yourself. I'm talking about Goblin right now. Try to think about yourself as being vermin. I don't know. Get something to nibble on.
I'm told I'm
whatever.
vermin frequently.
Okay, Utaka, can you control them?
I don't wanna.
No, to give a
But
shot.
would you like to hear about Ninklim?
Israel walks
It's pretty
away
great.
at this point and is gonna go to sleep. She's gonna leave that conversation.
Don't
I
dance.
can talk to you about Ninklim. They're not
I'm not-
just a god of vermin. It's also, it's so much more.
I'm not looking to buy anything, thank you.
We have pamphlets. Wait.
All right.
At least take this coin.
If I take it, will you stop talking about Nenklim?
For now, yeah.
We're here if you have questions.
Goblin
No,
one kind
Tarek
of
says, yeah, sure, and then just switches to Amphitrite next conversation.
goddamn dual clerics.
Okay, vermin ain't your thing. What do you think about the ocean?
Yeah. How do you feel about water?
I mean, you live surrounded by it all the time.
Think
Don't you
about the
think you should be
embrace,
paying homage?
around you. Don't you want to hug that water back?
The water is to be feared. Don't you think you should be paying it the respect it's due?
All right. Utaka, you and Griaz attempt to sales pitch your various religions and debate the classification of vermin as it applies to gods and the spectra pin. And Israel, you just try to meditate in God's damn peace.
Honestly-
She's gonna roll over and go to sleep.
Griaz just sees this as a very clear path towards establishing a cult and getting as much money out of that as possible.
And given that we've established in this campaign as a major plot point that significant enough worship elevates you to godhood.
But you don't need to have faith in them. You can have faith in me. Anyway, sorry, let's continue.
Geharis, Ivron. The council member who had spoken to you, the blue darkened elf who identifies himself to you as Yorick, walks you into the crypt college where you can see cloaked wizards quietly pursuing their studies, but he takes you to a small kind of circular offshoot to the side of it, a cellar almost, and with a tap of his spade in a pattern, the doors open, and he guides the two of you down into the crypts. Specifically, the crypts and tombs that served as the first and most ancient and venerated, the Tomb of Kings. All Barrow Lords are buried here. The first settlers of the Barrodel were buried here. The greatest of heroes and kings are buried here. And Yorick, silently, with all the quiet respect that such a gravesite demands, begins to escort the pair of you down a winding set of stairs that takes you far beneath the crypt college. You pass several graves that line the walls in a kind of Tomb of Paris-esque arrangement. You know that this tomb will basically expand to dug further down and around to essentially what would normally be the Underdark of this settlement is just a massive graveyard of various tombs. And Yorick guides the pair of you down a winding set of stairs and eventually through a maze-like set of halls. To you, there is no rhyme or reason where anyone was buried. They don't seem to be organized by date, by name, by species even, by religion, by afterlife, by beliefs, by place, by even ethnicity. There's simply death, and the denizens of the crypt college are the only ones who can identify it. I would say both of you being natives here and sons of politicians at that would know that this system is essentially to minimize the risk of grave robbing. After all, if nobody knows which grave even contains the Barrodel, even if you made it down here, you could spend potentially years searching all these graves and never find it. Is there anything the two of you would like to say either to Yorick or to each other while he guides you through this network of tunnels and graves?
What do I see with detect magic?
With detect magic, you do not see any children of red site magic. However, Yorick gives off a heavy air of necromancy. And I will say, just again, given your paladin abilities, Ivron, you get that chill you get when you're near an undead. You see, in places like Yavin, especially in a place as heavy with necromancy as the Baradel, being an undead is not necessarily always an unnatural process. Undeath does not always come in the form of a necromancer rising you to do his bidding or through some disease or pathogen spread by supernatural plagues. Sometimes undeath simply happens. Geharis and Ivron, you're both very intimately familiar with the idea that, especially where you come from, the idea that it was quite possible to simply die and then become an undead naturally. Not to wander the earth any further, but to guard your grave. A process that the denizens of the Crypt College allow to happen, as they bring no harm to no one but those who intrude upon their personal belongings and grave. You know that these particular types of undead are known as the Draugr. And it gives both of you an air of cautious respect to know that they say don't speak ill of the dead. That phrase applies even more when the dead are still listening.
I don't think I will specifically say anything until we get to the gravesite, and then, there's no really presiding questions I feel need to be asked. Like, this is our home. We're very intimately aware of.
Of course. Yeah, just covering it for audience awareness and whatnot.
Yeah.
Anything from you, Ivron, before you presumably are led to your father's grave?
No, I think Yvonne is, though he's probably been down here a time or two, is still looking very thoughtful and down at the ground, contemplating deeply as to what will happen at the end of this journey.
As Yorick, the elvish necromancer, guides you through the graves, you both pass by several graves you recognize as your ancestors. Duran the Deathless, said to still be alive in his grave as a Draugr, who will rise to the surface to protect his people in their time of greatest need. Lady Yara Blackmont, a deeply respected and well-known political force that, if nothing else, definitely served to make the Barodel the formidable borderline city-state it is now. And Fenir Blackmont, your grandfather. Until finally, you make it to a grave that seems unremarkable compared to the others. The Barrow Lords themselves are not given emphasized respect compared to any other. After all, death is something that comes for all of us. It would be disrespectful to the other dead to act as if these people, simply because they lived on top of the graves, deserve more respect than them. But they were treated with equal respect. Among a wall of tombs with names on them, you see a carved, almost marbled black stone, the only thing that distinguishes this headstone from the others. And noticeably, the Barrow Lords are all marked with black stones, the only thing that distinguishes them. And upon the black stone, carved in the language of the Yavik people, which you, of course, would both speak, Lord Danahir Blackmont, Barrow Lord, Master of Castle Blackmont, Knight of Hell, Father of Ivron and Geharis Blackmont. Yorick, turns to both of you, leaning on his spade staff, and is silent for a moment to allow the two of you to process before gently, with venerable respect, tapping the tip of his spade against the stone, which begins to slide free from the others, dragging along with it a carved stone black coffin. And as soon as the coffin floats free from the rest of the wall, it almost falls, but Yorick catches it almost effortlessly. And with a deep bow to both of you, lays your father's grave and coffin at your feet before stepping back and leaning on his spade staff and watching respectively as the two of you stand over the grave of your father, removed from the walls of his blood brothers, ancestors, and even strangers who he fought against and alongside, who are all buried here.
I'd say that in this moment, Ivron is trembling, uh, but kneels down to his father's, the side of his father's coffin.
Geharis kind of wraps his tail around his waist and sits down next to Ivron, putting a hand on Ivron's back and just kind of giving him a nice, reassuring pat.
What are we doing here, brother? This is. This can't be our time.
It might be the only time we get.
So it's presumed that the barrel blade is in the coffin?
Yes, you would know that the barrel blade is buried with its previous wielder if they do not have an heir to claim it.
And in our father's case, he had heirs.
But neither of you claimed it. You were, as you told me, you were away whenever he was killed.
Right.
And the moment you found out, you went to pursue who killed him. So neither of you ever returned to claim it, or your titles for that matter.
Okay. Well, father didn't get the chance to swing the sword at the one true enemy of the Baradels. And we have traveled across the world to find out what happened to him and who did this. And this is the first time, Ivron, we've known the enemy our whole life. Just now we have a name, and we know why. We weren't here when it happened. We weren't there to stop it. But we're going to be there to stop him from doing this to anyone else. Father taught us to be heroes. To stand for what we believe in. And to do what is right. And you and I both know that Father didn't draft our destiny for us. Father didn't base his decisions on Tails' timeline. What we do with now is all that matters.
Ivron Ivron does somewhat of a double take over his shoulder and gives Geharis an uncertain look, but knowing Geharis and how sure he always is of himself, Ivron is going to nod and, in the most respectful way, open the coffin.
As he does so, because I have my hand on him, I would like to cast Ceremony. Without him knowing.
Make a stealth check.
Sure. I'll use a chat inspiration for this. Well, the first roll's a nat 20. And the next one is a 15 plus 4, so 19.
Okay.
Because I have disadvantage.
What ceremony are you performing?
So I don't know whether coming of age would be the right one. There isn't really one for become king or become lord.
Becoming the king.
But I think coming of age is the most reasonable blessing.
I'd also be willing to make an argument for dedication.
That's fair. Whichever one you prefer, it's still a D4 regardless.
Yeah, like the core thing doesn't change. So, and Gaharis, how do you want to flavor the actual performing of the ritual itself?
Sure. So, are there like fireflies or grave flies that kind of illuminate the Undercroft?
No, most of this place is kept completely dark and lifeless, again, out of respect for the dead.
Okay.
But I will say that while there are not things like grave flies, you do notice that there are those same cloys of mist that cling to the cloaks of the denizens of the Crypt College.
Yeah.
And they
Screw that guy, he's not important. I know what I'm doing. I'll flavor my text. I've got this. So, as I cast Ceremony, pale luminescent balls of light emerge from all of the crypts of the Blood Brothers and all of the heroes and reverent fallen that are buried here, pulling upwards from the grave and hovering, and any of the Draugr that are around kind of position their blades to kind of like a respectful stance as they all seemingly watch what's going on in silence. And as the spell continues, the will-o-wisps begin to whirl and hover overhead, forming a crown above Ivron's head, and settling down as one rises from our father's crypt as the last one. It's a ball of golden light, and it settles on the hilt of the sword.
Okay. Ivron, you do not see Gaharis perform the ceremony himself, but as you begin to venerably open the coffin, you begin to feel cold. The cold of death, as the spirits of the crypt begin to gather around you. Not aggressively, not even the curiosity of a wandering spirit. It's respectful. The Draugrs of your various ancestors and kin, your great ancestor, the Deathless, still in his tomb as a Draugr, lays his sword into a position of respect as a golden spirit rises from the coffin and wraps around your shoulders as if hugging you, around your neck as if feeling breath on it, before finally settling around your head, the crown of the Barrow Lord. And as you settle the coffin open, no dust, no cobwebs, the Crypt College denizens clearly take great care of these, and both of you behold not the corpse of your father, but as all Barrow Lords are destined to become, the Draugr that he became. Still bearing the wounds he took in life. You can see a deep, deep gouge over his heart, which goes all the way through to out his back. And his body has begun to give way to decomposition, but you see the barrow blade clutched in hand. A blade that looks rusted and meaningless. To an outside observer, it's a worthless artifact. But you can make out the signs that your father always spoke of what made it significant. Golden strands embedded in the hilt guard, and bits of spotted blue throughout the steel that encompasses the blade itself. An ancient forging technique from the Second Age that's long been lost to us. They don't make blades like this anymore. That's what makes it so powerful. And Ivron Geharis, the Draugr of your father, slowly turns their head to look upon the two of you. Draugrs cannot speak. Those who can speak nonsense and often just repeating their last words mindlessly. But you do know that Draugrs can understand. They can think. And the Barrow Lords have all sworn to watch over this settlement until its fall. He may not be able to speak to you, but your father can still understand you as he looks upon you for the first time since his death.
For Ivron, I think tears start welling up in his eyes a bit. And motioning to his father, he does try to speak, but they probably only come out as whispers. And the first words out of his lips are, "I'm sorry we weren't there. Please forgive us."
The Draugr, with slight cracks in its neck from rigor mortis, turns its head to look at you, Geharis.
We know everything.
He puts his hands on the side of the coffin and begins to force himself upwards. His bones crack, his skin stretches. It's a struggle for a Draugr to stand. You know, both living in a necromantic settlement, Draugr only rise to defend their grave, which is considered the most important and sacred task to a Draugr. Typically, only great kings and the wealthy become Draugr, as only they have something important enough left behind to protect. But a father leaves a more important treasure behind than a city and a castle. Your father rises to his feet, and you can see Yorick lower their head and bow respectfully as the Draugr rises. Even for the two of you, the imposing figures the two of you cut, your father looms over both of you. Some men, even the most mighty, shrink in death, but you would almost swear your father's somehow gotten more impressive. And beneath a head of hair, not too dissimilar to Geharis' own slick black, it hangs somewhat loosely, and while it has been maintained, it obviously has not been able to grow or be traditionally washed. But he looks over the pair of you, still clutching the barrow blade to the chest, over the wound of what you now suspect to be the Devourer, the great halberd that Yoron Els wielded in battle. And because it goes all the way through, you can't even tell if it was through the front and out the back or through the back out the front. And your father looks over the two of you. Their mouth hangs open, but their lungs have rotted. Their windpipe collapsed. They can't form words. But he begins to kneel. And you initially think, with how kind of rapid and painful it looks, that it may be just simply he's unable to stand in his current state. But you realize that your father's bowing to you.
Ivron, I think, would if he's struggling, try to help him to do so. But first, he's going to look at Gaheris and what did we do?
What you were always meant to do, and I'm going to bow to Ivron.
Is he's presenting the sword then?
He has bowed to you, but he still clutches the sword to his chest. However, as Gaheris bows, his head rises and he looks to you, Ivron, and again, their mouth hangs open, still unable to form words, but you can see their lips begin to crack upwards in a smile. And he looks to you, Gaheris, and reaching out a bony skeletal arm, puts a hand on your shoulder before the bony hand reaches under your arm and ushers you to your feet.
I will stand up.
And he, using the barrow blade to support himself, rises back to his full imposing height and, looking over both of you, holds the ancient blade out between the two of you, not to anyone.
Do the Necromantic College, do they use the spell Speak with Dead?
You know that that's one of the few necromancy spells that they are encouraged to cast, as it is respectful to the dead and does not disturb them beyond a very basic series of questions. And while interviews with the dead are kept to a minimum and only denizens of the college are allowed to conduct them typically, you do know that the Crypt College has allowed Barrow Lords of the past to discuss matters with the dead when needed.
I guess I'll just nod to Yorick to be like, cast it.
He gives you a bow and approaches Danahir and gently taps the shovel to his chest. And the Barrow Lord, looking down at his wound and the shovel, which gleams with that same spiritual fog as it touches over his heart where the devourer pierced him. As the shovel retracts and Yorick goes back into his respectful bow, my sons.
Ivron. So Dan here is standing up then?
Yeah, he's standing and holding the barrow blade out between the two of you, but not to anyone.
I think that Ivron, despite the blade being held outward, as soon as he hears his father's voice, will give him a hug. Or try to.
Which he kind of, it's again a bit of every movement feels very deliberate and forced, but you feel one arm freezing cold but touch your shoulder, and Gaheris, the other hand, reaches out for you, shaking with strain.
I'm right there. I'm already there.
As he embraces the two of you, the barrow blade clatters to the ground, not held by any Barrow Lord. And the two of you embrace your father. I am so proud.
We are grateful for your pride, Father, but please, don't strain yourself.
My purpose is to guard what's mine. And his grip on the two of you tightens.
We still need to avenge you.
I am avenged in your success. I fall, but there are still Barrow Lords. My sons live on.
We do, Father. We live, and you are gone. This is the way of life, but still. I know that you have stated to us that our purpose in this world is carved by ourselves, but please, is there anything that you could give us? Any last final words? Will you not pick Geharris?
He backs away from you and looks over you with a kind smile and bends down to pick up the barrow blade and placing it with its tip into the stony ground. He grabs your hand and guides it to the golden hilt of the blade. And Geharris, as you watch with a smile, you feel a cold hand on your own, which guides your hand over Ivron's. And as his freezing dead hands join the two of yours, together, as you were always meant to be.
Are we able to raise the blade up in unison?
You can certainly try.
I'd like to do that. Being that Geharris is the sneakier of the two, Geharris is explicitly keeping an eye out for if Ivron tries to let go at the last second. And Geharris will actively grab onto Ivron's hands and force them if needed.
Your hands are already joined, so you
Yeah.
can certainly do that. Ivron, do you attempt to deny yourself your birthright?
I suppose not anymore.
Yeah, that's right. I'm onto your
Gehar-
tricks.
Geharris, you can feel Ivron like attempt to pull away a few times, but you tighten your grip. And the two of you attempt to raise the barrow blade. The enchantment specified with the barrow blade is that the acting barrow lord is the only one who can wield the blade. And the barrow lord is the line of the great barrow lords and their sons. Therefore, the son of the barrow lord can wield it. And the two of you together lift the rusty monosteel blade from the ground, out of the stone that your father plunged it into.
As it's being lifted up, I know Vow of Enmity isn't a thing Oath of Conquest paladins can do. Or Oath of Vengeance, I think is what it is as we're raising it up, I don't know if there's any deities looking down on us in here, but I will whisper a oath while holding the barrow blade that until the one responsible for this tragedy is brought to justice, that I will strive to put the wrongs they have done to right.
There may not be gods watching over the Baradel itself. Lands of Draugr and undead are typically left, as necromancy in most of Yav is considered disrespectful. However, Geharis, given your upbringing, there is one god you would know to make this oath to. Velis, the Yavic ruler of, among other things, the underworld, where the dead souls go, and said to punish those who break their oaths. Given that this is the land of the dead, or at least as close to it as a mortal can get, and you are swearing an oath you refuse to break, Velis would be the god that receives you.
I would say it loud enough that Ivron definitely can hear the oath being said.
With hearing that, I think Ivron would turn his gaze to Geharis, and in like shock and awe, you seek to avenge our father. You sworn the oath by the sword, no less.
Is it any different than what we've been saying since day one?
Nay, but such oaths should not be taken lightly in such places, brother.
I don't take it lightly. And with the up to 5 questions we can ask. And it's Euron, right? Not Juron.
Joron is how it's spelled, but yeah, it's Joron Els.
Okay. Euron did this to you, father. Sorry, not where. Do you have any advice to us on how to defeat him and bring him to justice before he forces his will on everyone in this world?
He reaches out his hand for yours, and if you allow him to take it, he specifically requests your the arm with which you would typically wield your blade, the arm where your oath is carved.
I will, reach out.
As he takes your hand and places both of his over it, he begins to run his freezing, bony fingers up your arm. And while I know you would typically be wearing your armor, armor of this nature typically can come in pieces, which would allow it to be pulled away. And pulling away at your undershirt and the armor of Nightmare, he exposes the oath you and your brother took, carved in blood upon the arm that would wield the blade. And as he runs his, freezing hands over the words carved in, and Avron, you almost instinctively can feel yours begin to burn and almost as if reacting to your brother's own oath being, not even that it's being touched, but being directly referred to, so to speak, as you overlook your oath. The same words that were written in the letter from Euron as his last words to you and to your father. Rule with a fist of iron. Extinguish all hope. Let there be none whose strength is greater. And he covers the oath with his freezing hands and looking at both of you before locking eyes with you, Geharis. Not all who break their oaths are punished. The until they see for themselves that it is broken.
I look to Ivron.
Our roles are changed. I do not think we are bound by the Hell. Not in the way we were. Leastways, not in the way you were.
That is new. The Oaths have been a part of us for so long. Father, to those in the Hell Knights that still care, and that still draw breath and seek to serve the people in the world, the light that lights their way to what needs to be done to protect everyone in this world, I fear is dark. What do we tell them when we have to assault their keeps, their homes, to convince them not to fight us? We are not the enemy.
The eyes of your father close. And you initially worry that he may be going back down for rest, but he appears to simply be deep in thought. Before he runs his finger along the carvings on your arm, this time over the last of the 3 carvings. Let there be none whose strength is greater. Prove your strength, and they will follow. A powerful man can kill another, but only a great warrior can be a leader.
I'll nod and kind of, take a step back to let Ivron ask a question or, get whatever closure needed.
Ron looking his father up and down. I think simply asks, how could we continue without you here?
Together. I had someone I loved. But there are more forms of love than what the Great Lord and I shared.
Suppose then, should we kill Lord Jordan else?
He gives a smile and shed what blood you feel you need. And he reaches out for your arm now. And if you allow him to take it, he runs his fingers over the second part of the oath. Extinguish all hope. Do what must be done. But I am avenged, my sons.
Ron would look back to Harris. Anything else? And rest now, Father. Thank you.
As Yorick's spell wears off with the questions not expended, but having gotten what you wanted, he loses the ability to speak. And looking over the two of you, his sons, the treasure he prized over his lover, the Baradel, his oath, and even in the end, his life. He looks over the two of you, the shared Baradel hilt in one hand and revealed blood-carved oaths on the other, and gives a smile and begins to, like a pained old soul soaking into a hot bath, begins to sit back into his coffin. But as he sits and before he starts laying down, and Yorick begins to lift the coffin to place him back in his resting place, he looks over the two of you. Again, his lungs and windpipe damaged heavily. Again, most Draugr cannot speak, and what few words they can is madness. The final words that they would have spoken in life, typically. I love you.
We love you too, Father. Rest well.
His eyes close and a smile comes over the Draugr's face as Yorick reverently helps guide their head back into their coffin. And his hands cross over his chest, no longer with the barrow blade to weigh down his tomb, but instead he lays and allows his hands to face upward, crossing his arms, allowing his oath to be revealed to the world, the oath that he kept even into his death. And Yorick places the lid back on his coffin and gently pushes the tomb back into the wall, marked once again only by a black stone, a name, and a list of accomplishments. Hell Knight, Barrow Lord, and you see now listed finally, most importantly among the lot, Father. As Donahir Blackmont is laid to rest.
I think Yvonne just wipes his face of the tears that would have fallen and gives his usual deep, courteous bow. And then turns to Gaheris. I'm assuming they're still holding hands around the sword.
Yeah, oaths on one arm, barrow blade in the other.
Yep. And I will release the blade into your care for now.
Ivron, as soon as Gaheris releases his grip on the blade and you grip it, you can immediately feel this deep, freezing weight overcome you as if you've been plunged into icy water. And as you overlook the ancient blade, you feel the same thing that the Barrow Lord spoke of ever since the first Barrow Lord wielded this blade. The weight of souls upon it, voices speaking in the back of your mind, although you cannot make out yet what they say. As the spirits of the Baradel, of the great Barrow Lords, of the great Yavik rulers that are buried here, warriors that fought in battles, all pay their veneration and receive the Barrow Lord. As Gaheris, you swear your oath to Velis, the ruler of the underworld who watches over your father's soul in death, the great dragon that is said to punish those who violate their oaths and disrespect the dead. You may not hear them or even see them, but it is the way of your people. The great dragon has received your oath. And in this place of the dead, Velis's presence can even be felt. Velis is one of the few Yavik gods that all kingdoms, the Wicked Commonwealth, the Gyogran territories, the Minlus Khanat, all Yavik kingdoms pay their veneration to the great dragon. As rulers may have money and land, warriors may have power and strength and armies, and even a commoner may have their farms and their lives and families, but all people someday will die. And almost everyone has a promise to keep as you swear your oath.
Well, I suppose we'll have to skip the feast.
Yes. Yes. There is work. There is work to be done.
What do you command, Barrow Lords?
I believe 2 new suits of plate armor.
Yes, my lords.
And Yorick, find the Castellan. Bring me the High Marshal. Let us call up the forces of the Barodel.
The Barodel marches to war, my lords.
Yes. To war.
I shall have my people begin digging graves. And with spade in hand, Yorick begins to trudge up the stairs to assemble the full, formidable might of the Barodel. The Gyogran territories that encompass the Barodel are said to be one of the most powerful militaries in the world, certainly in the land of Yav. And while their power has been waning in recent years, the Barodel still stands strong, nearly a city-state in and of itself. And while they may not have the Hell Knights, and they may not have the Gyogran army, there are forces that can be called upon in the land of the dead.
Odd question, Matt.
Odd answer.
A bit, because I did have Detect Magic up, the wound we could see on our father, was there Cult of Red Sight magic on the wound itself?
There was not Cult of Red Sight magic, however, there was the magic of Hell Knight magic. Attempts to wound and attempts to heal.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You cannot tell the caster by a glance, but best you can tell, either your father went down with a fight and was trying to heal himself from the wound, or potentially Euron at some point felt regret and attempted to heal the very wound he had inflicted.
Noted. I will not convey that.
Very well. As the two of you stand silently, the newly crowned lords of the Barrow, as your father is laid back to rest. As an interesting and potentially relevant note, your people have a unique word for the being you just spoke to. A Draugr of a Barrow Lord that watches over the settlement and their descendants. Said to be some of the most powerful undead in existence, the Barrow Lords in their now undead state are known as the Barrowites. They who walk again. Is there anything left the two of you would like to do in this tomb and while you are home before marching to assemble the Baradel for war?
No, I think that's all I need. I'll probably. This doesn't need to be a scene, but I'll definitely re-silver a longsword, or my sword that was coated with anti-magic.
Very
And
well.
then the anti-magic residue that we have in the bag of holding.
Yeah, which I'll say you wouldn't know this, but for convenience, the actual in-lore term is adamant powder.
Adamant. So I would, at some point, ask if there is a blacksmith capable of forming a dagger made of this material.
Very well.
And if there is, I would like them to craft a dagger and call it Euron's Bane.
Very well. Paying your respects to the Barrow-wight and the great Barrow Lords of the Land of the Dead, you return to the surface and begin distributing your orders. The Baradel marches for war. The armies are to be assembled. The willing spirits of the dead will march alongside the denizens of the Crypt College. The Barrow Lords will march to battle alongside their descendants. And some projects are going to be commissioned. 2 sets of plate armor and a paradoxical weapon, an enchanted dagger given a name that should bless it with magic, that at the same time is made of a material that is magic's bane. An adamantine dagger. Euron's Bane. Israel, Griaz, Utaka. You all get a long rest. And what would you like to do the following morning? Tail said that in the morning they would start assembling the people you requested and deliver them. But you'd have some time before that happens. Is there anything you'd like to do?
If possible, I know we want to do the dragon thing when it's kind of dark. Do we want to do that around like dawn when it might be? Okay, so which side of the lake are we on?
Yeah, we need to walk back to Jor where they can see it happen.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was switching up the music. You are currently at the very southern tip of the lake, and Jor is at the very eastern tip.
Okay, so we want to do this at sunset.
Like Tails?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just bitching about having to walk. Yeah.
We want to do the fight at sunset when the sun will be keeping the citizens from having as good of a view of what's happening.
I like that. That perfect crepuscular time when nothing can really focus. Yeah.
Precisely. We want it to look vague, but impressive.
So I don't know how long it's going to take to travel there.
Would we be able to time it if we left, reasonably enough to get there at about that time?
You could certainly pace your travel. Like the Kipling jungle, you could just camp out there until nightfall, but you know that it would take you at least a few days to get there on foot.
Okay, so a few days. So we have time to do like sending spells.
Easily.
What if we were to fly?
Flying would certainly make it faster. Do you intend to fly via the dragon?
No, I was gonna wild shape. I didn't know how.
Yeah, here, let me, I have some calculators for this. While I'm pulling that up, does anyone else have anything while I'm running the numbers on that?
I'm thinking if I turn into a giant something.
Giant something or other.
Flight speed's 80 feet roughly, 80 feet per turn, and I get a total of like 8 hours. I just didn't know if we could cut things in half by doing it that way.
You'd actually even more than cut it in half, because with flying, you also don't have to worry about the difficult terrain of the Kipling jungle, so that would also speed you up. So
Yeah, well, even as a druid, I don't have to worry about that nonsense. But
true, but basically, would you be going at essentially a dead sprint, or are you would you be like just going at a moderate pace?
I mean, flying, that's kind of hard to.
Yeah, I know it's kind of like a weird, but like basically, are you like going as fast as you can, or like
It would
effectively
be
mechanically would
soaring
you
at
be dashing
maximum
or
speed. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, I was just asking if you'd be effectively dashing for all intents and purposes. Okay.
But maybe we should take the dragon. Because, I mean, we need it there anyway.
What, the goblin's going to break it though?
Yeah, they're gonna be bringing it behind us, but they need to like be kind of behind us because it needs to kind of look like we're being chased.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of looks a little sus if we show up. We're like, no, it's fine. Don't look at this
Yeah,
part.
don't
We're just
worry as
setting
we
up.
climb out of the dragon. This is fine. This is normal.
All right. And out of curiosity, what form would you be taking, Griaz?
Probably giant eagles. I think that's what makes most sense.
Okay. So giant eagle. Just need to double check one last thing.
And that's something he probably
okay.
would have seen. I mean, at least once reasonably.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
Okay.
I tend to not be super picky on that, so yeah, I'll easily allow that.
Yeah, I'm trying to resist turning into as many dinosaurs as possible.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, giant eagle I'll allow. Yes, with the giant eagle form flying as fast as you can, you would effectively equal the speed of the dragon, which means that you could make it from here to Jor and you estimate probably about 7 hours.
Can you fly that long?
Yeah, it can fly for a total of 8.
Ah!
Perfect. We'll get there, speed up at the end, make it look like we're being chased. When you land, make it look like you're collapsing. Took a lot out of you. You've been wild shaped for hours. We got it. We're good.
Tuck and roll. Yep.
Oh, shit. So then should I just stay with the goblins? Are we
Yeah,
going to go right
you might
into
want to
battle?
hitch a ride in the goblins.
Okay.
And I'll ride with Grias.
Then...
That would actually be even more convincing because we can tell them that the dragon killed all 4 of you.
There's
and then
like
we collect
no way
money, and then we bring it to you all.
There's no way this could possibly come to bite us in the ass when, like the rest of us show up not dead at some point.
I can tell you're being sarcastic and I'm not listening.
What are they gonna do?
Okay. So, just for my reference,
Ivron wouldn't approve of lying.
Ivron is not here. And Ivron already approved of the plan. So, that's an Ivron problem.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm not lying.
Do you really want to play Ivron's advocate right now?
You're going to be in the dragon. You won't have to lie to anybody.
Fine.
You'll be in the water, and then you'll swim back to Liberty.
Your dog is growing up.
Only when Ivron can't see is Utaka like, Ivron wouldn't like this. And then if Ivron was actually here, he would just be like, shut up. This is a perfect plan, Ivron.
Well, yeah, because then Ivron's the one being Ivron's advocate. Okay, so...
That's not true. He's not done some stuff in front of Ivron.
It's true.
We're all very proud.
Okay, so, all right, so the plan is Griaz turns into a giant eagle, presumably Israel riding aboard. Utaka stays with the goblins, who will wait and come in behind you guys. And then you guys will start playing up like it's a big battle. Gaheris, Ivron, and Utaka are dead. And you guys battle the dragon. They collapse into the water. Utaka will be in there with them, helping create effects and stuff. And then you guys just collect the reward money for completing the quest to kill the adult red dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do spells like Thunder Wave out of its mouth to make like booming sounds, and maybe like shit. What else can I do? It's a red dragon. They know it's a red
like
dragon.
A gun?
Yeah. What?
You still have a gun?
Yeah. I got a
It's a dragon
shotgun.
that shoots bullets out its mouth.
My breath weapon, bullets.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Oh, I can do.
As they're getting ready to leave, Israel is dirtying herself up to make it look like, she's been running full pelt for days, kind of deal. She's gonna
Okay.
put some strategic leaves and sticks in the hair and like dirt, ruffle it up, make it look dirt smears, as one does.
Okay.
Ammo.
Actually, Utaka, I got this here elemental pistol that kind of looks like a sword, but if you look at it close enough, it is in fact an Atlantean pistol, and it can fire.
That's fucking perfect.
Yeah,
I
want
can
it back.
like, if it's doing fire, maybe I could do like some like wind behind the fire and make it go.
There you go.
Careful
Really
you
go with
don't
theater.
set the thing itself on fire.
I can set fires out. What do you think I am?
I don't doubt that, but I also want to just hammer home the structural integrity of that thing needs to remain intact.
Just out the mouth. I think we are technically this world's first special effects crew.
Also, I just want to point out as just a brief side note, I really, really love that you guys left with a bunch of quests 3 days ago and came back like, hey, what's up? We're rebelling against our bosses. We discovered an ancient city. We were going to kill the dragon, special effects. And also we know who the bad guy is.
Don't worry about it.
Because I had a bunch of notes of like stuff that's going to happen like weeks from now. And you guys are just like 3 days, let's go.
You
All
got
right.
it.
In that case, as the three of you go over the plan, I presume, with the goblins themselves, Utaka, you climb aboard the mech, and as they get it ready for flight, Griaz, you take your wild shape, and with Israel on your back, begin to dart oh so frantically over the Kipling jungle.
I will bring, if we can, Barry and Yao in the dragon.
Yeah, they can. We've established they can fit in there. All right.
Naden can do whatever the fuck Naden does. He doesn't listen to me.
Naden's a nightmare horse. He just sort of like melts away.
Although
Reforms
I
in,
will
like, a
say,
shadow the next evening. Who knows?
I will say because of what we had mentioned in the previous session regarding Barry, I will add as a fun detail. After Griaz and Israel take off, and again, they need to get some distance anyway. As you're getting your pet rat from the Soul Tide and getting the goblins together, you do see Barry scuttling across the wasteland as fast as their little ant legs will carry them. Because, yeah, they actually have been basically sprinting all through the jungle and wasteland to get to you.
I run up to them and give Barry a big hug.
And their antennae like rub all over you as they refamiliarize themselves with your scent. It's real cute. They do some little ant squeaks.
Barry's like, I miss fuck Utaka's like, I miss you too. And he's like, ah. Anyway.
All right,
Boy and his aunt.
Yeah, boy and his aunt. Bringing Yao and Barry aboard the dragon mech. Griaz and Israel taking off ahead. You guys prepare for the greatest performance of a lifetime. Everyone, roll me deception checks, but I will give you advantage because this was a well-executed plan and you're all working together, so I will give you advantage on these checks.
Can I argue that for me it's performance?
Sure, I'll allow that.
Cool.
Could I argue that for me it's Arcana?
No.
Oh.
Nice. All right. That is
Sorry.
23 performance.
Okay, 23 performance from Israel. So yeah, I'll accept deception or performance, but as long as you tell me which one you're rolling so I can flavor accordingly.
23 deception for Griaz. And yeah, for flavor, he is a kind of like muddled brown. I guess it would look kind of like a golden eagle a little bit, although they're not very golden. But yeah, super long wings and long talons and whatnot.
Okay.
With advantage, it's a 12.
Okay.
Look, I have a +0. Don't judge me.
All right. Utaka, twirling the element pistol you got from Griaz. You get ready for the performance of a lifetime. As you all battle the dragon.
Also, I do want to note that Israel is like the only one who can understand Griaz in animal form, and he's just going, "This is amazing! I can fly! I can poop on anyone!"
Living the dream. All right. Griaz, you fly with Israel in tow for hours. And in the distance, you can see Utaka on board the dragon mech take to the air and start following behind you, about matching your speed, trying not to, close in and get ahead of you. As the goblins pilot the mech behind you, and you two start approaching Jor. At this point, the afternoon sun is well into the air. It's broad daylight, and there's still a bit of snow falling on Jor, but the skies themselves are relatively clear. It's just basically a very light snowfall. As you two come down into Jor, yeah, we don't have to take it like beat by beat, roll for roll, but for flavor, as the two of you come in for a landing, and you can already see like some of the guards and townsfolk of Jor who have been repairing since the blizzard, kind of looking confused as a giant eagle with their elf friend aboard come in for a landing. How do the two of you want to flavor this?
Griaz realizes after he shouted that he can poop on anyone that Israel can understand him. So he's like, all right, I was just kidding about that part, I think. Do a barrel roll. And he does a barrel roll real quick to kind of like dodge the fireballs. And then as they get close to the ground, he's like, all right, get ready, tuck and roll. And like just as they're about to hit the ground, he wild shapes out, does a roll, and then like turns around to cast magic and stuff.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. Israel, when given the signal, would bail, tuck and tumble.
Tuck and tumble. And for funsies, just a second here, Utaka, since you're controlling the fireballs of this dragon, would you mind rolling me 3d6?
Yeah, sure. Not bad. 11.
Griaz, as you're doing this barrel roll, Utaka, you're in like the dragon's mouth, like holding onto one of the teeth to stabilize yourself and leveling the pistol in front of you. And they're like pretty good ahead of you, and you're wielding a pistol and you don't know how to shoot a gun. So it's a hard shot to make. So you're just like, come on, because you have to deliberately miss. Like you just have to shoot near them. So kind of getting a grip on it, you fire, and you end up aiming a little too well. And Griaz, you actually take a hit on the wing on the way down. It doesn't do enough to throw off your barrel roll, but yes, you do take, what was it, 11, Utaka?
Yeah. But after the fire, I want to do Gust of Wind to follow it up to, like, make the fire explode out more.
All right. So as Utaka's, like, weird mixture of, like, second age gunsmithing and third age spellcraft hits you, you get singed a little bit for 11 fire damage on the way down, but you're still able to come in for your landing.
He's, like, patting out his arm as he lands. I'm gonna smack that boy.
One of the, like a thunderous boom up above.
Yeah, and as that thunderous boom reaches, initially the guards approaching the two of you looking concerned, just like, "Are you all right? What's happening?" But then whenever that thunderous boom reaches them, the guard looks up and, Dragon! And the town immediately flies into a panic as not only the guards of Jor, but the underling fleet, which is still locked into dock by the ice caps settling into the lake, begin to ready for a dragon assault.
All right, so Israel's gonna fire. I think she gets 2. Yeah, she gets her 2 Eldritch Blasts, and she's going to try and fire them in like the gap between its head wing. Look like it's skimming, possibly hitting either of those 2 locations, Yeah,
which you rolled well, so I will.
The far side of the dragon, that's the city can't see as well, so it looks like it might hit from their perspective, Clever perspective shots.
Of course, yeah. You guys are being real cinematographers.
Exactly. It's a real trajectory nonsense.
Over effectively the next like almost 2 hours, a tense battle ensues.
I don't know if we have no spell slots for 2 hours, Matt.
Yeah.
Well,
A few
bear in mind, not all of that is actually fighting. Some of that is just running to where the dragon happens to be. Bjor is not a huge city, but it's a fairly decently sized town.
On top of that, you have 100 goblins to assist. I'm sure
I
at
am
least one of them knows spells.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're consuming spells every 6 seconds for 2 hours. I'm just saying, like, basically, when the dragon is within range, you do a spell. And
Sometimes we stop for lunch. Sometimes there's a little tea break, you know?
If the dragon comes in close to, if there's any like ballista or anything, Utaka will be like, go in there, and then like when it gets close, he's gonna shatter the thing to make it look like it's biting in front, like shattering it. So a little bit of structural damage.
You're doing shatter.
I mean, it to try and make it look like an explosion of.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As it's like crushed. Or
it says it erupts from a point of your choice within range. I was checking to make sure you weren't about to destroy the mech.
No, I get to choose where it is.
Okay, yeah, just making sure. Okay, so over the next couple hours, you guys help the guard in what they think is the biggest battle of their lives.
Yeah.
Archers fire at the dragon mech, which easily just pings off of the metal armor. The druids that the Emelian Empire have assembled in an attempt to help alongside Griaz start casting nature spells at it, which at best slow it down with things like that binding spell you said you wanted to do during this, Griaz. Basically, I'll say any spells you want to do at some point during the battle, you can knock off that spell slot, but I'm not going to demand any extra beyond that. And Utaka, you're having a blast hiding yourself in the dragon's jaw. You like occasionally take pot shots at like houses and stuff with the element gun, and then like whenever you pass over, they don't have ballista, but they do have catapults. Yeah, sorry, my brain was thinking C engine. There are the catapults that have the druid altered vegetation as weaponry. You easily just shatter those catapults as you fly over, and to the eye, it looks like the dragon is laying waste to the city. Although, Griaz, you do get the impression Utaka's getting a little too into it, as there are some actual fires starting.
Like, he was trying to skim the houses, but some of the aim was bad. But
I remember that was a fairly low performance roll, so it's not going to be bad enough to make it it's not going to be bad enough to make it like outright unconvincing. But basically, this is the penalty, that there's a little bit of actual damage from Utaka getting a little too into it.
Across her nose, not up it.
Yeah, exactly.
Israel, you take very actually well aimed, as at this point with a target that big and as good of a shot as you are with your like modified weaponry, especially, it's actually harder to miss a target in a specific way than it is to just straight up hit it. But you managed to consistently, Utaka, you can occasionally hear the sound of scraping metal as Utaka's arrows ping off of the dragon's armor. The only projectiles that actually come significantly close to seriously damaging the mech. At worst, they just take a few arrows from particularly decent archers in the city. And you can hear the ringing bells as the underlings try to add their bell weaponry to the battle. Although, Utaka, do you wish to destroy those as well?
Ooh, do I want to destroy the creepy evil bell? Huh. That's a thought. Yeah, fuck it.
Riding high on the joy of destruction.
Yeah, fuck that bell in particular. It was like weird and creepy, and I didn't like it.
You, and therefore it needs to die.
So I would like to shatter it at 5th level.
All right, which, yeah, as again, it looks like the dragon's just doing a flyby and spitting fireballs at the ships. You do a well-timed shatter to make it look like your fireball just destroyed the bell, which flies free from its supports, and with a lands and actually like cracks through a few layers of the deck of the ship. And the underlings at this point have to focus on keeping the ship from sinking as opposed to like actually attempting to fight. As the underlings, the people of the Emelian Empire actually come together and start like fighting off the dragon, as the underlings, with it destroying their stuff now, know for sure it's not on their side. this seemingly out of nowhere neutral dragon that's fighting the Bluefield Alliance and the Empire begins to lay waste to the city and actually gets the two sides to unite for a little bit. Israel, you occasionally can see the various people you've met in Jor. While you don't know them super well personally, you can see the local branch of the Court of Miracles helping to contribute in their own way, supplying weapons to the townspeople, and the sergeant that you had met helping coordinate the Emelian Empire response as everyone comes together to fight off this dragon. Again, the fight takes place over the course of several hours, and it took you like 7 just to get here. So at this point, the sun is beginning to set. As you guys said, you wanted to wait till nightfall to actually destroy it. So as the battle rages from the late afternoon into the night, the sun is beginning to set and night is beginning to fall. How do you guys want to, organize the seeming destruction and defeat of this dragon after hours of combat?
I think if Utaka has sendings, we'll kind of leave it to Utaka to be like, okay, all right, coming in for the final swoop, and then like very dramatically cast Entangle. They don't fight it off. Nosedives. Big splash.
Right, Utaka, is that good with you?
Yeah, at some point he'll be like, hey, I'm gonna get kind of like bored of this. Can we finish? I think I set some fires. Are they putting them out?
Yeah,
Which they are.
Actually, Israel, I think, is going to use, I guess, on the entanglement, as they like fly to wrap up the wings, she's going to use fairy fire, but color it to make it look as close to real fire as possible.
That's good.
So that it looks like it's now on fire and also, falling into the sploosh. Yeah.
Dragon on fire?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, I won't.
They're not gonna think that hard about it. It's fine.
It does concern Griaz that there are like legitimate druids attacking this thing. So if Utaka is like creating fires in druidic, he will yell at them prior like, "Go, brothers and sisters, deal with the fires. Stop! Don't worry about the dragon.
I got this.
You're trying too hard."
One of the druids, a somewhat older-looking human man with a thick brown beard and a wild set of brown hair, definitely lives in the forest as a druid, gives you a salute and starts barking orders in druidic to get everyone, because the druids were mostly operating the siege engines, which Utaka destroyed early in the battle, so they start diverting their attention to helping the civilians and putting out fires.
Canonically, that druid's name is Bob Ross. And we'll never see them again.
Wait, Bob Ross? It should be Bob Moss if he's a druid.
Yeah, well, he loves happy little trees. Mistakes happen.
Happy little trees. All right. You guys come in for the final coup de grace. As the sun has set, it's dark. You have the cover of darkness to help you. All 3 of you make me another perception/deception, your choice roll. However, you do not have advantage on this one.
I feel I got a very respectable 10.
Got 25 deception.
I got a 16. Yes.
Okay. Israel, using your creative fairy fire strategy to make it look like fire. Griaz, as the goblins and Utaka come down for another sweep of the underling fleet, Griaz casts Earthbind, and as vines and thorns entangle the dragon's wings, the goblins just take their hands off of the paddles, and you give one final magical effect. And those of you, as Sergeant Pierce runs up with bow at the ready, the 2 of you can actually hear, now that you know that it's just a goblin like yelling into a megaphone to create the roars. There is a little bit of like feedback, a little bit that kind of concerns you a little bit. And Israel, the thought does occur to you that red dragons are technically fireproof. But as the dragon appears to be enveloped in flames, entangled in vines, and with a, again, somewhat feedback given roar, falls, and Utaka the jaw seals shut to prevent water from flooding the sub as the dragon falls into the water with a as ice shatters and breaks up, the ice caps that are sealing in the underling fleet actually cracking and separating significantly. And Sergeant Pierce looking from the lake to the two of you, the two of you, and did we kill it?
Woo!
Yeah. And she gives like a high five to Griaz.
Oh!
Yeah, y'all did it. Look, y'all's heroes, every single one. I mean, we're the main ones past, but y'all couldn't have done it without you. We could have, and we kind of did. Don't worry about it.
Well, I will make sure personally that you get the reward you deserved. An adult red dragon having the boldness to come and attack Jor in broad daylight. Well, whether you took the quest or not, you finished it.
We absolutely did.
We sure did.
Yep. That's important. And we lost 3 members of our team, and it's where will we go now?
Mr. Blackmont's dead.
Yep.
Tragedy. My heart goes out to them. May they rest in peace. Well.
I mean, you never know. There's like spells to bring them back. So I mean, don't
don't overthink it.
Yeah, just I mean, you know what solves problems like this? The exchanging of goods and/or services, and the payment for goods and/or services.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to afford their resurrection without that.
A little bit of retail therapy. I'm just saying, it'll make you feel better real quick.
Well, after everything you've done, after everything they did for this city, I'll take the resurrection fees out of my own coffers. The quest fees are yours to keep.
Oh, bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Without you, surely things would have been a lot worse.
Absolutely. Don't forget that. Do you have enough money in the near future statues? I think might not be.
She elbows Griaz.
Well, of course. Don't worry, I'll ensure you get paid. I'll take you to the bureau myself. Captain, scour the lake. Make sure that thing's really dead. The rest of you, make sure that there's no casualties in the town. And
isn't it just more dangerous to try and go into the freezing water? It's freezing water.
We're not going in. We're just gonna see if we can't have the halflings scour the waters with their ships, the ones that are still standing anyway. If they can float.
It's not coming back out. And Griaz is also going to very surreptitiously cast Druidcraft to just kind of make it smell like scorched death a little bit, I guess. Like char and poop, I guess. That's what scorched death smells like, I would imagine.
She kind of hesitates, seeming a little concerned, but when the smell hits her, yeah, that doesn't smell like anything alive. Just smells like underlings.
Well, yep, okay.
In a very inopportune moment, you get Griaz, you get a message. So can we go now?
Fucking chill, Utaka. Fucking chill.
It's really cold down here.
They can't hear him.
No, I know. There's talking.
How did that come through?
No, they're just talking. It's just just speakerphone. No, they're just saying this. I just figured I'd add it for Utaka's benefit.
My question, Matt, is there a goblin out of the 100 that's dressed as a butler that serves tea
it's
and will
2,000.
Yeah, I know it's several thousand goblins,
that
but
will walk up to the top and be like, "A sip of chamomile, sir."
Chamomile tea.
Oh, I was thinking it was much more like an airline, attendant just coming down with a little trolley.
Anything from the trolley, dear? Gosh. Make it happen,
Sergeant.
Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Utaka, you
Goblin
were
37.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Goblin 37, a small green-skinned goblin with red eyes, starts distributing snacks and just basically leads the festivities as the goblins quietly celebrate on board the dragon as they float to the bottom of the lake and start kind of quietly snaking their way along the bottom back towards Liberty.
I'll have a water, please. Fog or seltzer.
All right. And as Sergeant Pierce personally escorts you to the bureau to be paid, as promised, she will also provide out of pocket for resurrection fees. Basically, just double checking to make sure that you actually have the resources to do so. As she's retrieving the gold from the barracks, she kind of mentions over her shoulder, was it just it was Gaharis and Ivron Blackmont and the Genasi boy, Utaka, right?
Yes.
Did you take any other losses?
I mean, they're pets.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to justify resurrecting pets, but I can at least ensure that the heroes who laid their lives on the line for us are brought back. I think it's the least we can do for them.
Thank you. You're very generous.
I'm sorry, I don't want to have to invoke this, but I will use a Sperry the Berry if I have to.
Just don't mind him. He's exhausted.
I can imagine. That's one of the great
with grief.
It's one of the greatest battles I've ever fought in my life. The siege on shore may have not amounted to much fighting, but it was good to get that out of my system. I needed that. All right, and here for the resurrection fees. And she will hand you a bristling sack of 75,000 gold.
And into Israel's bag of all things, the money does go.
And she takes you to the bureau, which is mostly just currently very busy bureaucrats. However, they simply nod whenever you mention that you had killed the dragon, and pulling up a copy of the quest pamphlet, which one of you should still have.
Yep.
Did one of you take the quest to confirm that? Thank you. And kind of looking over the two copies to ensure legitimacy. Actually, does seem to be a process. They kind of give a nod, and we have enough witnesses to corroborate that this is your kill. The payout is 18,000 gold.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for saving the city and killing the dragon. Please quest with us again.
Pleasure. And then out we go, and immediately out of the city to find the mercenaries.
Hey, real quick, actually, who do I talk to about statue commissions?
You're gonna have to
I gotta go. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So that's 75,000 from the guard for resurrecting the fallen, and 18,000 for killing the dragon. So that's almost 100,000 gold for this deception.
Yep. I do not feel badly at all. I understand the empire. Honestly, Israel's feeling incredibly proud of herself. She's like, I have just scammed an empire out of more money than I would ever see in my entire life.
And you actually managed to make almost triple what you went in to make. You went in for the 18,000, managed to con an additional 75,000 out of them with their dead trick.
Oh, absolutely.
More than
and then I can give it to the refugees, and we will get a bigger cut each of ourselves. Like, this is great. Israel's like, this is incredible. I love this. Right? It's gonna fund us improving our new base. How else are we gonna get it up to snuff?
We're gonna spend a bit before you guys get back. You guys have been gone for a while.
Like,
we bought a quarter of the city.
We get back and you're like, so you remember how people were like gradually leaving? Well, we figured we could speed it up if we just bought them all out of house and home.
Yeah, if you just like robber baron them to the very snow-filled
we
soil.
We are now slumlords in the city.
Israel will not go that far. No.
Phrase in my head, manifest destiny, and it's It's been working so far.
It's making me want to manifest it. I feel like it's my destiny.
It really is. I need like a buffalo to kill. I don't know why.
Okay, so
All right, so you guys are gonna head out to the edge of town where you left the mercenaries.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna gather them up and of course send word to, or when Ujaga checks in, it's like, yeah, you guys can hoof it, like, get out of there.
Okay.
We got the goods.
Yeah, we got it. Scurry.
Exactly, let's scram before they figure it out.
okay, so we will meet you on the shore, southwest of town, like
Cool.
a couple hours out.
Good. Excellent. Kind of like where we met Blood Maw the first time. It's like, cool,
Yeah.
all right. Sure.
All right. Griaz, Israel, as the two of you make your way to the edge of town, the mercenaries are actually already there, with several refugees from town who had fled the dragon attack. And Brooke, with a hand on their cutlass, steps forward and just, sorry we couldn't get there quicker to join in, but you left us quite a bit of ways out. Didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. Looks like you managed to take it down, though.
Yeah,
Where's the
sorry, we're
others?
terrible with communication. But yeah, no, everything seems fine.
Everyone else just collecting the payout, I imagine?
What meager payout there was, yes.
Didn't get much for it?
I mean, you know, it's uncouth to talk about such things.
Never get paid until, huh? And they hold out a hand to you, and good to see you again, Griaz. Glad you made it back in one piece and with minimal singes on your fur, aside from a little bit on your elbow there.
Yeah, I will be addressing that here pretty soon. Yeah.
Well, never a boring, dull day around all of you, huh? We wanted to try and head in quicker, but these three, and she gestures to the poachers who are kind of standing a bit of ways with their arms crossed, said that we shouldn't stray too far from camp, said that they had orders from the captain. So sorry we couldn't be of much help, but didn't seem like you need us too much.
We're fine. Better that you're all here, though. We've got word from the captain. Well, their captain.
New
She waits
orders?
the poachers. We have a new base of operations that is probably a darn sight warmer than here.
Well,
And we're hidden.
my men and I will certainly be eager to get out of the snow. Should I pass word to the mercs?
Yes. Let's get everybody together. We'll lead the way.
An out of character question, because I don't remember this. Didn't we think that Brooke was with Red Sight? Did we address that?
Buckler, while their name was not mentioned in the notes, their name was mentioned as one of the names they gave to blend in as doctors.
Yeah, so like we
So
haven't
that's-
confronted them, but
Yeah.
we
Okay,
know,
okay.
and they
And
don't
Brooke
know
doesn't
we
seem to know that you suspect.
Fair
And
enough. Okay.
Brooke kind of...
Drew's plan at this point is let's bring them in range of liberty and confront that question there.
Yeah, speaking of, Brooke kind of seeming kind of curious. New base, huh? Where are you setting up shop?
Oh, a place. You'll see.
Ooh, nice and vague. Well, remember, I still got a business to run, but if you're planning to take off from shore, I'll probably be making my own way once the waters warm up a bit, if they ever warm up. But and she holds out a hand to you, and I'm probably gonna settle down with my man in Nadia until things settle down out here a little bit. I'm a smuggler, not a mercenary. But perhaps I'll see you and your lot again. Your captain did say that I may be able to request your services down the road.
We'll
Very
see, I
likely.
suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, we're near the winter solstice, Brooke, so keep warm.
Oh yeah, I'll be sure to. Kind of adjusting their jacket a bit and kind of scowling at the snow around them. Well, then I guess this is where we part. Do say hello to the captain and the blue ones for me. It was good to meet all of you, and good to see you again, Grias. Never be a stranger. My crew and I will be in Nadia if you want to find us.
I'm sure it won't be too long before we see each other again, Brooke.
With any luck. And they hold out a hand to you, and shaking it firmly, assuming you accept. They pat you on the back, Israel, and come on, girls. Let's see if we can't get in on the party that they're going to be throwing for this. Get some warm beer to soothe the stomach. And you see the poachers start to get kind of antsy. Captain, perhaps you should stay with us. I'm sure that Mr. Blackmont will be more than willing to pay any expenses, and you're not going to be able to make for Nadia until the ice caps melt anyway. Well, why don't you come with us to the headquarters? Brooke kind of tilts their head and just, well, I have been looking for better digs, and you make a fair point. The cabin of the ship's not going to be much warmer, and honestly, I'm not looking forward to sharing a dock with underlings anyway. All right. Yeah, you've tied my hands. Although I'd still like to know where we're going.
Shares a look with Grace.
You know what, Brooke? Let's talk about this later.
All right. Yeah, you probably want to rest after all that.
It's been a long day.
Oh, I bet. We've already done some hunting for the night. Let's have some dinner and talk about who's rooming with who, I suppose. How big of a headquarters are we talking? Castle?
Yeah, roughly.
Ooh, fancy.
More or less.
Where'd you manage to find one of those?
Wouldn't believe it if I told you.
I bet. Knowing the shenanigans all of you get into? Well, come on. I've talked your ear off long enough. I want to know how you managed to kill a dragon. Let's hear that story. With any luck, the other three will be joining us soon. I'll make sure to serve a plate for them. And Brooke trudges off through the snow towards the camp, and kind of looking over their shoulder, John of the Poachers kind of nervously approaches the two of you. And I'm sorry, Miss Blackthorn and Mr. Bramblepelt, but we have orders where Garrus said that we shouldn't leave until they get back.
That's who's ordering us to come get you now.
Ah, I see. All right then.
Did they say the password? I explicitly said they have to say the password.
Do we know the password?
No,
Did you
but
share
the
the password
poachers
with them?
do. But this was several sessions ago. I explicitly
and-
said, if someone is going to give you orders, they need to preface it with a specific phrase so that you know they're not being mind controlled. Or
And did you
listening.
tell us these
No,
phrases?
I did not tell any of you.
God,
However,
then you're useless.
the
We're gonna leave
poachers-
your mercenaries, and it's gonna be your fault. We're not coming back.
Because there were hidden items as well in the camp. For the dead
Yeah, and the poachers do not seem to be asking for the password, although I did remember that.
Thank God.
All right, well, are we leaving tomorrow morning then?
We're gonna wait for Harrison and Avron to get back.
Mm.
All right. I'll spread the word. Look, I don't want to stop pointing fingers, but Mr. Gaharis said that he suspects there's a traitor among us. You wouldn't happen to have any idea who that might be?
At this point, I have no idea who the dozens of people he could mean, which one he was specifically referring to when he spoke to you.
That bad, huh?
We found out a lot since we last spoke.
Well, I won't ask you to share, especially if you suspect there's ears listening. I know it's a hard ask to trust us, especially.
Not
given-
as much, but it is complicated, and it's probably better to wait for Gaharis.
Just keep an ear out and let us
Yeah.
know if you hear anything you think might be worth sharing.
Yeah. So far, the mercenaries have just been staying out of trouble, at least in terms of outside trouble amongst themselves. But I have my suspicions about the captain. She keeps trying to wander off. I had to pull a lot of strings to keep her from just leaving whenever she thought that you weren't coming back.
Did you see where she was going to go?
Same as now. She said that she wanted to make for Nadia. It's across the lake from here. But with the freezing waters, no ships, even the halfling ships, aren't going to be able to breach through that ice until it melts.
Then why did she want to leave earlier? She wasn't going to be able to go anywhere.
I thought something was weird too, and Mr. Gahara said that to keep an eye out for anything suspicious. So I made sure to make it clear that she's not my boss. She can't give me orders. Mr. Gahara said not to physically stop them if they tried to leave, but I managed to talk her into staying, clearly. But you did a far sight better than me. I feel like she's been keeping an eye on me ever since then. Probably thinks that something's up. Given who I used to work for, maybe she suspects I'm with the Children of Redsight. I don't know.
And Israel shares another look with Yaris of like,
I don't think she thinks that. I think everybody's just a little suspicious these days. So just, like I said, you can trust
things are
us.
getting complicated.
Yeah.
To be fair, as a group of smugglers, most other people than your crew are pretty suspicious.
Yeah, that's fair.
Think about it from her.
Honestly makes me miss the days when the most complicated thing I had to worry about was a giant chameleon that I was hunting in the jungle. I've never been one for war and politics. Well, contrary to what the captain said, we gathered some food for everyone. There should be enough for all of you. When do you think that the other three will be getting back?
Something tells me Utaka is going to be around soon enough. Running Harris.
Always gone for the action, there for the money, huh?
Yeah, Utaka. He's just probably napping somewhere. Oh, yeah. So good to talk about when he's not here. I mean, you really just it's a weight off your shoulders. But no,
I'm sure they helped during the battle. They're probably just organizing the profits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, probably could improve their aim. Just suggesting that out of nowhere, apropos of nothing.
Bit of a bad day, I assume.
It's fine. I'm not. It's fine.
We're
With
saying
you
something
running
about
the
food?
Harris.
Yes. We did some hunting. Come on, let's eat.
Excellent. Yeah, we can probably expect Harris and Iran in the next few days. Yeah,
Hopefully.
let's go with that.
Yeah, Shiny boys are going to take their time.
All right. Utaka with the goblins in the sub. It's going to take quite a while if you go all the way to Liberty. So you said you wanted to just come off on the Kipling Jungle shores, just a distance away from shore, and then are you going to start just making your way back on your own?
No, I think we're gonna dock there we'll stop by the shore and wait for Israel and Griaz, which could be the next day.
Okay.
But we need to gather them and then head to Liberty so we can deal with the magic transference stuff.
Okay.
However, I do have a couple extra spell slots, so I would like to message Ivron late in the night.
Okay. And at this point, this will be just while you guys are making the commissions for your special smithing projects and assembling the Baradel army. So at around this point, the sending spell from Utaka arrives.
Hey, Ivron, it's Utaka. We pretended to be the dragon. Well, I did. I was great, by the way. You okay? Everything good over there? That's it.
I think, okay, Harris, I think that our friends were able to pull off that little stunt with the dragon.
Oh, well, I had no doubt that they could pull it off. I'm a little sad that we didn't get to be there for it, but, well, sounds like everything went to plan.
Wait, yes, I think so. I guess Utaka's asking when we're going to return.
Um, I look over at the blacksmith. How long for the armors and for the dagger?
The smith of the Barodel, or at least one of them, is the one you managed to get a hold of to craft. Because I'm assuming you're going to have the same guy craft the adamantine dagger as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we had multiple ones, I guess the armor could probably be offset because it's like non-magical armor.
Okay. So finding him, as he's basically one of the more well-off ones, and good thing too, because as a human who does not possess any latent magic, he's probably one of the only people here who can handle adamant dust safely. And he seems a little perplexed by the material itself, but as you explain, I presume its properties and why you want it forged into a dagger.
I will straight up tell him the properties, and then I will like lean in with Ivron in the room and say, I'm going to stab the man who killed my father with this, so that no magics can ever bring them back.
Yeah, and I'll say the smith himself, who typically has done a lot of the forgings for the Barrel Lords of the past, is a very well into his prime, incredibly muscular human man with a long ginger beard that's kind of tied back to prevent it from, being set on fire. And a leather cap keeping a presumable bush of ginger hair contained as well, and very basic leather smith's garments. Despite presumably being a relatively well-off man, he doesn't feel the need to dress super extravagantly. But as you say this, he kind of nods quietly and is silent for a moment and looks over the vial of adamant dust and, well, make sure you give him an extra one from all of us. May not have been our father, but he was a good man and a good leader. Make sure that bastard gets what's coming to him.
I absolutely will.
I'd heard stories of something like this, never seen it in person. I can certainly make it, but I'm going to warn you, Lord Blackmont, if this dagger so much as grazes you out of its sheath, you're a dead man.
Well, then I suppose I'll have bigger things to worry about then. I suppose I'll have to stick them with the pointy end and hold on to the dagger side, the non-dagger side.
I'll be sure to make you a substantial guard. Keep your hands as far away from the blade as possible. Just be careful when you're drawing it. Don't let it so much as graze your skin. This goes for you as well, Lord Blackmont. It's not safe for you either. If the legends and what you've described to me are true, if I so much as poke you with it, you're both dead.
I'm aware.
Just don't want that on my conscience.
No, I completely understand. It's entirely fine. If there's any left over, if you could coat the tips of 5 arrows, I would be most appreciated.
Not sure if there's enough for 5. I might be able to handle 1, 2, maybe?
1 is fine.
All right. Adamantine arrow, adamant dagger, and some plate armor. Thankfully, you don't want the coated that stuff too.
Could you imagine? Just like run into people and they just vaporize?
Yeah. He contemplates the vial for a minute before putting it in his pocket and kind of patting it lightly. I haven't forged a weapon for a Barrel Lord since the Devourer.
What can you tell me about the Devourer?
True to its name, Lord Els wanted a weapon that was capable of draining the life, but bestowing it in equal measure. One end takes life, the other restores it. That way, the wielder can poke their enemies with the business end, and if their own skin contacts the opposite blade, their own vitality will be restored, all in the same swift motion. Made him a formidable opponent on the battlefield, I wager, being able to heal and damage in the same strike.
Are there limits?
Healing magic always does have some. It can't restore its severed limbs. Something happens to your eyes. Can't do anything about that, but it can heal superficial wounds to be sure. And the wielder sure better know which end is which.
If it hits someone, can it heal someone from a wound that has been inflicted by the weapon?
Easily. You'd need to be a talented wielder, but it could certainly be done.
Thank you. That will be all. Ivron, anything you would like?
Well, I would just like to take a look at the playground. I'll be with you in a minute, brother.
He gives a bow and, all right. And Harris, do you tell him what you wish for the dagger to be named?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
That's for me to know.
Okay. Israel, Griaz, the two of you settle into the camp, surrounded by the mercenaries you've hired over the course of things. Tails has not yet returned, despite saying that he would. But what happens remains to be seen. Utaka, you wait with the goblins on the shore, just swapping stories and chatting with the greenskins as you.
Do I get a response from Ivron of how long they're going to be gone?
Everyone?
Yeah, Ivron would have mentioned probably.
Okay. Is this
a
like
day.
months, days?
Well, I mean, that's kind of why he was going to discuss with the
All right,
blacksmith.
so we'll say that that you can give them a response after you've asked a few questions, which we'll do next session. And Gaharis and Ivron, with your birthright obtained, the barrow blade in hand, and a new blade to be commissioned. Gaharis, you commission Joron's Bane, and with it a matching adamantine arrowhead, the first weapon that the Smith of the Hell Knights has forged since making the Devourer for Joron Els. A weapon that is said to be able to heal and claim life in the same strike, allowing its wielder to be judged during executioner on who lives and who dies. Surrounded by enemies, birthrights restored, and an army being assembled. As Dr. Tails assembles your allies, Israel and Griaz watch over the mercenaries, and Ivron and Gaharis assemble an army of knights and necromancers. That is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we're at that time of the night, friends. Thank you for tuning in and for watching. It is always a wonderful delight to share these experiences and memories with such wonderful friends. So thank you, first and foremost. My name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. I had the delight of playing Gaharis Nervos Blackmont for you tonight. You can find me here at Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Tuesdays, I DM 2 campaigns, Shards of Anarin and Anarin's Rest. Fridays, I play Gaharis, and Mondays, I play some sort of multiplayer game to, with friends, just to enjoy their time with me, because I cherish it. But outside of that, we are currently looking for DM applicants for the 2022 year. So if you go to @GrahamCrackers1 at Twitter, you will find my Twitter page where the pinned tweet is a link to our audition forms. So if you have a tale to tell and you're looking for friends, here's the place, here's the chance. But I'd love to know 3 things from my compatriots. Who are they? Where can we find them? And what do I usually ask? Who did they play? Where can we find them? And what are the projects?
What projects?
That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Kari. Here I play Israel, the Fey Pact half-elf warlock. You can find me here every Friday doing that, or you can find me here every other Tuesday for the Inarian's Rest campaign, where I play Karis, the tiefling wizard, and I should be returning next week, actually. So it's this coming Tuesday. I'll be there. You'll be there. We'll all be there. I don't have any other projects, and you can't really find me anywhere except here, or in Guild Wars 2, where End of Dragons has come out and is probably the best expansion ever. I have 2 robots for my lovely Sylvari, who I have named both Stem and Leaf, respectively. They're my children, and I love them very much. So you should join me and also have fun little robot children. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, hi folks. I'm Derek Sword. I played Griaz Bramblepelt. If you want to find me and more of my projects, best place is Twitter at dsword16. A lot of my projects are on hold, so in the meantime, you can find me here on Graham Cracker's channel. I'm here, of course, Fridays. Every other Tuesday, not the Tuesday with Kari, but the Tuesday with Pharaoh. So not this coming, but next, in Shards of Anarium, and we're mid dragon fight, and it's going fine. Yeah, who knows? It's going great. So check that out. Not this Tuesday, but next. And yeah, like I said, a lot of my projects are on hold. I'm planning a big move. I have been for a while, I know. But yeah, you can find a bunch of like my older stuff. There's VODs of Horizon's Call, which is an Oceanic campaign. Season 2 is coming in the upcoming months. Monster Crush, podcast I do about smooching monsters and finding beauty in the horrifying. Lots of stuff out there. Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm going to go last because I have some campaign related stuff to mention as well. So
hey guys, I'm Pharaoh. I can be found on this channel 2 Tuesdays from now in the aforementioned Shards of Anarian campaign, where I play Sindra Starmain, who is trying to tank a dragon fight, and it's, would you know, painful. Crazy. She's having a time. 1,000-yard stare. Yeah. So please join us that day to watch me die. Otherwise, you can catch me here every Friday, and you can catch me on Twitter at Ferocious, spelled how it is in the chat. And as far as other projects, nothing at the moment, but keep your ears open. And off to you, Jeremy.
Why, thank you, Pharaoh. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremy, and I have the pleasure once again to play Iran Blackmont with these fine folk. I can be found on various social media sites under the handle Dane Darkstride, but I would warn you, there's nothing going on there, to which I apologize. I'm a very boring person in real life, and unfortunately don't have time to add to projects, but you can find me here every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, playing this campaign. I am 100% Graham Crackers exclusive, so this is where you can always find me. Without further ado, I will yet again pass it off to our GM. Did Graham go?
Graham, did you go? Okay, just making sure. I thought so. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, good. Take it away, Matt.
In that case, it's me. I was Matt, your DM. I played everyone else. I was pirates, I was mercenaries, I was necromancers, and I was Graham and Jeremy's father. Go to your room, sons. uh, Even if you normally don't watch outro stuff, I do recommend sticking around to the end of this one because a few actually relevant stuff to this campaign will be brought up after I get through all my projects. So without further ado, if you liked my DMing and want to see more of it, tune in this next Monday on the Odd Tornado Productions Twitch and YouTube channels to see my Monday game Under Locks and Keys, featuring a party of globe-trotting treasure hunters traveling all around the world of this setting to gather the artifacts of the gods to battle a group of technology-worshipping cultists that are trying to open a door built by the gods first. They don't know what's behind it yet. Some think it's a treasure, some think it's a curse. And while we're off this week, also tune in on Tuesdays in the same channels and on at 9:30 Central Daylight Time for my Tuesday game of Black Ink and Blue Blood, taking place in Gaheris and Ivron's homeland, but a few hundred years in the future. Featuring a party of nobles, lords, and politicians trying to unravel a political conspiracy. They just took out one of the big guys in said conspiracy and managed to get their hands on an airship. And just not at the beginning of this arc, managed to restore the Blackmonts to the Baradel after Dark Elves of the Thieves Guild managed to steal it out from under them. I'm, of course, here DMing every Friday. We will not be taking a break this week, which I will mention as well. So tune in next Friday to see more of this. And if you want to experience my DMing for yourself, I also DM a paid game on Saturdays and Sundays, Saturdays and alternating Sundays, The Feast of Judgment, also taking place in this same setting, but 2,000 years after the events of this campaign have passed, where the underlings, the rat folk that the party fought the fleet of, have begun to advance and are plotting the destruction and conquest of the entire surface world. Their numbers are ascending, and they've created a network of FTL portals that allow them to get anywhere in the world they want and potentially bring the entire surface to its knees. Uh, uh, so if you want to participate in that, see how that plays out, that is paid game exclusive content, not streamed. So if you want to see how that plays out, you're going to have to shoot me a message, and I'd be happy to include anyone.
Bill, change of plans. We're committing genocide.
Yeah, we're gonna cause mass cave-ins. Send them back a few thousand years.
I was already considering killing their leader.
But that's just a small point.
That's what sets it off. You created a martyr.
I was just thinking that.
Statues
and also,
Utaka
are you going to tell me that
see.
Utaka leading the underlings would not result in the same thing?
It would have.
Yeah, it would.
We all follow the Wet King. The Wet King.
Yeah, I will say as a funny side note, though, part of the reason the underlings are plotting that surface conquest the party has found out is because humans have figured out what adamant does and are planning to supply entire militaries with it.
Is there a small rebel faction that just founded by that leader that we convinced to just be nice and play nice? And he's like, wow, people treated me with dignity and respect when I gave them the same thing. Weird.
Are we the baddies?
Find out. Yeah, are we the baddies?
Matt, do bear in mind that Griez, if he keeps going on this druid route, will be immortal. So if you need just an ancient swampy bugbear to come out of the woods and go, fucking told you. And then just like
rat people. Never trust rat people.
Don't do it.
I sense a guest star appearance in your future.
I'll keep that in mind. And if you want to see more of this world and my writing without having to worry about players, check on Webtoon and Tapas my webcomic Undercommon, featuring one of the first goblins who ever became an adventurer. I think that's about it. Oh, and check out Odd Tornado Productions official to find anything that I may have missed. A lot of fun projects, a lot of great people work with me on stuff. They're all great. For campaign stuff, first of all, with Gaheris and Ivron having secured their birthright and made peace with their father, and with season 2 at its end, you all level up not once, not twice, but thrice. So you all level up 3 times. And this is the end of season 2. We will not be taking a break, as we want to just dive right into the climax of this campaign. But while there will be an in-universe potential time skip, I will say that season 3 will be our final season. All of the players have been introduced. All of the pieces are in play. It's just up to the party to make it to the end in one piece. There's still the priest to worry about, and Lord Els has command of the GSIA and the Hell Knights and potentially all of the empires, including the Bluefield Alliance, with the layers of his deception. So you have a lot to get through. So yes, we are coming into our final season. So please stick around for that. Let's see. I know there was other stuff. This is more for in-universe player reference, but while I know we are planning to do a time skip, so feel free to mention to me any proficiencies you want to pick up before the final season. I will mention that within just a couple days in universe, the winter solstice will be arriving, and with it, various holiday celebrations. More or less, the in-universe equivalent of Christmas is a couple days away. So if you guys want to have anything actually happen on screen for that, feel free to let me know, and we can cover that in the next session. Anything else I will discuss with you guys off screen, but this is stuff that I wanted the audience to be aware of. With that, I think that's everything I needed to cover. So, Graham, would you like to take us out?
All right. I would love to. Even with 3 levels in Paladin, I still don't get any additional spells. Womp womp. But, hey everybody, my name is Graham, or Graham Crackers. Just telling you, pss, pss, I love each and every one of you, and each of you is valid and important. Thank you for tuning in, and it is an absolute delight. And though the show might be over for tonight, Our friendship is not. So make sure to follow and leave a subscribe if you haven't, or if you want to. We have some pretty cool emotes of my face doing, or something. But I hope you all stay safe. It is a dangerous world out there, but it's a little less dangerous when you have friends by your side. So that's why you adventure in a group. So until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon. We're going to raid the Adventurers Pack, who are actually playing some D&D. And, just say hi, tell them, I don't know, tell them hello. That's what we'll do. So please join us as we say goodbye to them, and we will see you soon. Take care and stay safe.